Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hello, and welcome to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us. Jimmy with the distant yay.
Yeah.
Sound like you were like entering the room.
I was running in.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed the last few weeks. Charles Barkley last week. If you didn't listen to that, you should really go back and listen to that.
He's a party.
Just that the Milwaukee 2 a.m. parking lot fight is worth listening to the entire episode, because I don't even that was one of the funniest things we've ever covered.
It was a brilliant move.
It was Mitch Green. It was Mitch Green running a gas station on the side. Funny. It was ridiculous. So
The spur of the moment quick decision was beautiful.
I'm going to be the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
So quickly, if you have not, please get on Apple Podcasts and give us 5 stars. It helps a lot. We don't know why, but it does drive you up the charts, and apparently that's helpful. So please do that if you have not. Also, go to shutupandgivememurder.com for everything. All sorts of new merchandise up. Get your holiday merchandise for your special Crime and Sports or Small Town Murder listener.
It's coming, man.
Friend or person. It's all around the corner.
What the fuck?
I don't know what's happening, Jimmy. I don't know why.
It's all so fast.
It's so fast. It's already December today.
Right,
so
right now.
Quick program note as well. December 22nd, which is 3 days before Christmas. No show that day.
Right.
It'll be a Tuesday. We're going to take that week off for our own sanity.
Yeah.
Everyone enjoy your weeks. There'll be a Small Town Murder that week because it'll come out on Christmas Eve and no one will listen to it. It'll be perfect. So, of course, we got to put one of those out, but not on the 22nd. No Crime and Sports that day.
Correct.
If you would like bonus material, we have it for you.
We do.
Tons of bonus material. Patreon.com/crime and sports. Last week's bonus episode, it was originally going to be more on the I-5 killer, but I need a couple pieces of information that it takes a while to get. Long story. So basically, we did a different story. We said, since it's something we have to, not do the thing we said we were going to do, we better do the most requested thing we have. So we did Mark Chumura on the bonus episode.
Did you say Chumura?
Maybe. I don't know. Either way, we did Mark Chimura on the episode. It could have came out like that. So there he is, patreon.com/crime and sports. Boy, did we have a ball with the old American Chewy there. It was a good time had by all, making fun of him, not at the actual incident. So
good time for everyone except 2.
Yeah. And also you will get access to the Small Town Murder bonus material, which is last week we did Thanksgiving Day murders, kind of a history of them throughout time. And wow, is there some craziness.
Bountiful.
Holy shit.
A bountiful Thanksgiving of murder.
Wow. If you would like to hear that bounty and plenty more, lots of new stuff every other week, you can do that. Patreon.com/crime and sports. And you'll be a producer who will get their name mispronounced at the end of the show as well. And if you just want to have good karma, you can do that also at PayPal. You can use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. That will also get you a shout out at the end of the show. You will be a producer. That said, let's get to this.
Can't wait.
This week, we're doing something a little different.
Good.
Okay, we normally, when we do like a boxer, or this week it's a boxer, it's the exact opposite of Charles Barkley, basically.
Okay.
Charles Barkley knows nothing but success. Never won a championship, but he won 2 gold medals, went to the finals as an MVP. Yeah. You can't say he's not a successful person.
He made $40 million in the NBA.
And is a Hall of Famer, top 50 of all time.
Still on TV.
And that's what I was going to say. And he's still on TV.
Right.
Like, no matter what you say about Charles Barkley, successful is obvious. Like, life has been decent to Charles Barkley.
If that's not success, I'd love to fail like that.
That's what I'm saying. I would love to fail hard.
Just
Please.
like Chuck.
Just like Chuck. Whereas this person is the complete opposite. This is, he's a boxer, and we could say in his profession he is a failure. Yeah. Now, That said, he made it to be a professional fighter, so that's not a failure. Right. He can get in the ring. He could have kicked both our asses, I'll tell you that much. Yeah. So, I mean, he's not a failure like that. But compared to most of the guys we do, most of the people we do have winning records. You know what I mean? There's a famous guy. He was a champion of something. Right. Then they fight a guy who's like at one point lost 12 fights in a row, and we're like, why does that guy keep fighting?
Right.
This is that guy.
All right, tell me about Jake Paul.
Yeah. Well, he won.
Yeah, he did.
But this is the guy that loses 12 in a row, 15 in a row, and you're like, why the fuck does he keep fighting? Let's find out. And let's find out what that causes in your brain.
Oh, I can't imagine good things.
No, bad things happen. And I can't even say this is a death-defying episode because it's just full of death.
Oh, boy.
So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Pureed brain.
Here he is. Exum Speight is his name.
What?
E-X-U-M.
Oh.
Exum.
Yeah.
Speight. S-P-E-I-G-H-T.
Who did this to him?
Exum Speight. Well, there's a lot of these of the Speights
really?
In the North Carolina
Exums?
area. There's a few Exums too.
Really?
Oh, I found some Exums.
What the
I don't know. I don't
Where's
know.
that name
I don't know
from?
if it must be. Is it a biblical name? Probably. I assume.
I don't remember that name in the Bible.
If it's from, I know nothing of it. But if it's,
I've read it a few times. That name doesn't ring a bell.
If it's from the South, I feel like, and if a lot of people have it, it's probably religious. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Is it possibly like an old Irish name or something? Isn't Speight? Isn't that?
I don't
spelling?
know.
That sounds.
Well, he's
Irish.
black, so I mean
that ain't it.
But we don't know what the history of
Yeah.
his family is, where
Right.
they came from, because I'm sure that's not his original,
probably not
ancestral name.
Right.
You know what I mean, from hundreds of years ago.
Right.
But now he's Exum Speight.
Okay.
Born August 1st, 1963. And man, such little known, except for he's born and raised on a farm.
Yeah.
In Whitakers, North Carolina.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this is...
Plural Whitaker.
He is many Whitaker. Many Whitaker. This dude is a country motherfucker.
Really?
Period. I mean, he'll say it himself.
Yeah.
I'm just a country boy, and he was raised really country. He is his lineage, actually, his ethnicity is interesting. He's Cherokee, Jamaican, Guyanan, and American.
Wow.
So very interesting mix of Central America and Native American and Jamaican also. Yeah. So he's got there's a lot going on. So a lot mixed up in him, which is good. We want genetic diversity. We always say that. It's good.
It's beautiful.
It's good for the gene pool.
It really is.
Diversify.
Right.
Good for you. So they were making when you have a farm, you got to make some kids. We'll put it that way. His mother and father stayed together. They're together the whole time running this farm. Exum is one of 17 children that they had.
That's why he has that name. They ran out of names.
17
Holy shit.
Children.
What?
In one fucking family.
Small farmhouse.
One woman pumped 17 children out.
That poor lady.
On
17 times
on a
9.
farm.
Oh, my God. How many months pregnant is
on
that?
a rural farm, too.
It's like
Think about
14 years of her life she spent pregnant.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
Just straight through pregnant.
Holy shit, man.
Pretty much from, imagine, like 23 to 37, just solid pregnant.
Solid.
No breaks.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, this is what I mean. This is
his mom's got to be a tough lady, right?
She's got to be a tough lady. And we know a little bit about her. Thank God this person here, we'll talk about it. There's a book called Ringside, Interviews with 24 Fighters and Boxing Insiders by a guy named Dovid Linder. Yeah. And he does does this boxingtalk.com stuff. He does a bunch of stuff. He's a boxing writer.
Yeah.
And he did this book of interviews. And he had the same exact thought we did. He said, everybody in this book, and it's all like every huge champion, and then, the major media, Larry Merchant, and this person, and then, Roy Jones Jr., and every big fight, Lennox Lewis, all these big fighters are in the book. And then he said, I have all these big fighters, and I wanted to find a guy who wasn't. I wanted to find one of these guys who loses most of the time and interview him, because nobody ever talks about these guys and blah, blah, blah. And he picked Exum Speight. Of all the guys, hundreds of these guys.
We've got a list.
Thankfully for us, he picked Exum Speight. And because he didn't know what Exum ended up doing. Yeah. So it's very, very...
But you can't have... That's a genius idea, because you can't have Muhammad Ali at 48-3 or whatever the fuck is that.
That's every other fighter.
But you can't have a fighter like that without guys like Exum.
That's the thing. Guys like Exum are the backbone of the business because these are the guys that there's these managers that'll have a stable of these guys that kind of supply these ready-made losers. And they don't throw fights or anything like that.
They're doing their best.
They're doing their best. They just know that the one fighter's better. And that's why their guy is there. He's there to get another win on the record so they can then get a better fight. That's all it is.
If you want 12 contenders, you've got to have 65 dudes that are absolutely not.
Contenders can't just fight each other always. Because then nobody would have good records and you wouldn't have 20-0 versus 20-0.
Right.
There's got to be those 20 guys that they kick the shit out of that don't amount to anything. That's what it is.
Here he is.
So let's talk about this. The interview, he says, we'll let him tell his own story. Why don't we hear in the beginning? He says, quote, "My mother used to tell me about my uncle who was a boxer. His name was Thaddeus Williams. He fought pro in the late 20s. I couldn't find any record of this person, by the way. But I don't know if he was fighting in a farm somewhere in rural North Carolina for $40. I have no idea.
Or if he's just in the 20s. In
the 20s,
man, he could have been fighting for Candyland.
That's right. We have no idea.
Could have been horrible
in the late 20s in the rural South. I mean, who knows? Who knows if they had gloves on? We have no idea what's happening. He said, so I would tell my mother, I'm going to fight one day, Mama. She said, boy, you're going to get your head knocked off. Okay. I used to beat up on my baby brother, Randy.
Yeah, that's usually how it starts.
He was my first opponent.
my baby brother. He makes him sound like he's 2.
I like the way this guy talks, too. He has, excuse my voice today. Every tree in back of me is... In Arizona, this is when fruit trees start to do things.
They're doing it.
And there is
in
literally,
the fall.
We've said it before, there's at least 18 different fruit trees that I can see just from my yard right on my back wall.
Flowering their ass off.
Everything from olives to pomegranates to grapefruits. So it's like, you're allergic to at least 5 of these, motherfucker. Enjoy. So that's where I'm at right now.
I have plants in my backyard. I don't know what they are. And I went out there today because one of them looks like it's wilting a smidge. Everything else has bright yellow, orange, and red. My backyard looks amazing. The flowers are incredible.
And you go outside.
And it's December.
Yeah, you can't see
What is happening?
This place is
James,
unnatural.
die in my backyard. My backyard's not a third the size of yours. It's just all pollen.
It's all pollen. Here, I'm surrounded by it, too. It's the worst. So, anyway.
Poor bastard.
It's the worst. He's my first opponent.
Yeah.
Randy. poor Randy.
Fighting over waffles.
Jesus Christ. And apparently they didn't run out of names because they named him Exum and they still had Randy left because he's the younger brother.
That one in there?
That's a choice. Yeah. Exum's a goddamn choice. He said he was my first opponent. I would practice on him. When I was about... Jesus Christ. He's teeing off on his brother.
Brutal.
His brother must have been tough after a while. Baby brother. Wonder how much younger, though.
Yeah.
I hope he wasn't like...
Old enough to cover up, I hope.
When he said baby brother, I pictured an 8-year-old walking up to a kid like in a bassinet just fucking teeing off on him, being like, what, bitch? What, motherfucker?
Put your hands up.
Put them up. What? You got nothing, motherfucker. You can't even see me over here on the side. You can't even turn your bitch ass head. Right in your mouth. What's up? That's what I pictured when I pictured baby. Or he's like a toddler walking around like a Lego in his hand. He just comes up, what up? Dancing on him. Pap, pap, pap. Knock the kid on his back. As horrible as that is, for some reason.
That's what you don't call him your baby brother unless he's a fucking baby brother.
Or, maybe he could be.
Maybe he's a year younger.
That's what I'm hoping for. I'm really hoping he's just a year younger. Maybe he's bigger even.
Yeah.
Who knows? So he said he would practice on him when I was about 10 or 11. My uncle came down to the farm, Uncle Thaddeus there, and he taught me a little bit. He showed me how to hold my hands and block punches and throw my jab. My mother taught me how to box too. His mother, remember when we said
she's tough?
Mom's probably pretty tough, pumping out 17 kids on a farm.
She's swinging too.
Apparently, Mom knows how to box as well. I'm not even fucking around.
Yeah.
Mom is a badass woman.
Yeah.
Like, you do not fuck with Ms. Speight, because she will fuck you up. It sounds like she'll beat your ass.
Well, was his grandfather? Wait, was it his dad? His grandfather, right?
It was his uncle.
Oh, his uncle.
I think it was his mom's.
Probably,
I think it was his mom's brother.
Yeah.
So yeah, my mother taught me how to box too. My mama was tough. She had 17 children, all by the same father. There were 10 girls and 7 boys. Holy shit! I could name all of them right now.
Yeah,
I hope so. They're your brothers and sisters.
You grew up with them,
17 or not.
Yeah,
like. Remember being in elementary school, you'd have like 25 kids in the class? You could name them all.
Yeah, every one of them. And I only spent 9 months with them a year. Yeah, Next year, I'll learn 25 more of you motherfuckers.
If you were related to all those kids and they all lived in your house, you'd really know their names, probably forever.
Yeah.
I could probably name most of the kids in like my 5th grade class right now, first and last name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure feels like all these babies were mom's choice. Like, dad would come home from working on the farm, and she's in the room, motherfucker, now.
Maybe, yeah.
We're getting another one going.
Let's go. Or she had to learn how to fight so she didn't have 18.
Right.
Listen, we're going to have to talk about this shit. He comes in the bedroom. She's dancing back and forth. Got her hands moving in front of her. Listen, bitch, you better keep them motherfucking pants on. I will knock your head off.
What's her price?
What?
Gonna get your head knocked off.
Come get this jab. Come find out about this hook. Ain't happening. 17 is enough. So, yeah, I can name all of them right now. I grew up on a farm in North Carolina. I come from a family of sharecroppers.
Okay.
So, yeah, they grew. Yeah. This is, a hard scrabble life.
Tough living.
I mean, for late 20th century, this is as hard as you can come up in the United States. Mm-hmm. Is, family of sharecroppers, 17 kids on a farm in rural North Carolina. That's tough. It's a tough way to go. My parents were hard workers. All they taught us was to love each other. I'm a Cherokee, Jamaican, Guyanan American.
Yeah.
Wow. I speak Patois, which is Jamaican Creole, Cherokee, and I speak excellent German.
Oh.
I speak a little Yiddish too.
Okay.
Apparently this.
Me too.
Yeah. No. Apparently this guy's got some weird thing for languages where he can pick up a fucking language very quick.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird because he doesn't seem all that brilliant in other aspects, but for some reason he can pick up a language like nobody's business.
Interesting.
Yeah, like he knew somebody that he was around was German and he just picked up German and he speaks like good German.
Wow.
It's very strange.
So there are people like that.
The other people that can pick languages up. Yeah, most of the time they're 4, though. Right. Most of the time they're not adults. But this guy, all through his childhood, I guess, picked up languages very easily. The serial
killer Junior from Mindhunter spoke 7 languages. That's what he said.
Yeah.
English was barely. But he says he spoke 6 others. And that's when, if you look him up, that's actually true. He claimed it.
Some people can do it. My grandmother speaks like 5 languages. Wow. I don't know how the fuck she does it. I've told the story. We were in a pizza place that had Slavic owners, and they were speaking Slavic, and she just started talking to them.
Fascinating.
In a language I never heard before. And I went, what the hell? Where did that come from? Yeah, and they talked back to her. They had a conversation. They're laughing, and I'm like, what fucking language is that? And we sat down. She goes, it's Slavic.
You know enough Slavic to tell jokes? What's happening
I was like,
here?
What how do you know Slavic? And she said, Ma, when I was a little girl, there was a couple Slavic families in my village. Because back then, from the war, everybody was scattered. So couple of Slavic families in her village in 1942.
Yeah.
And so she remembers how to tell jokes in Slavic, and this was like 2014.
She's still fluent enough to have a conversation with humor in it.
I was
the only way somebody that's Mexican that speaks Spanish is laughing with me is me trying and them going,
laughing
no.
at you. Yeah, that's not
They're going,
a joke.
that ain't it, sir.
Yeah, they're calling their friends over to laugh at you also.
Say again.
Come on, laugh at him. It's pretty funny. But yeah, that blew me away. I'm like, how the hell do you know how to do that? That's crazy. I must have picked it up in the village when I was 9. You know how that goes.
Picked it up.
You pick up Slavic and you remember it forever.
I touched a Slavic man. Now I speak Slavic.
That's how it works. It's an osmosis Slavic.
Queen Midas of language.
Of language. He said, when it comes to different languages, I can pick up on them real quick. It doesn't take me long. I graduated high school. I went to RIT for a while, Rochester Institute of Technology, in Rochester, New York, actually, too.
It's not MIT.
No. It's RIT. But still, he's got a smartness to him. He definitely has a brain. Mm-hmm. That'll go later, as we see when he has like 3 fights in 2 weeks. You're like, that whatever you learned at RIT, you just lost in that 3-week period of getting your head pounded constantly. So and he doesn't have fights where he's like, he comes in, knocks a guy out in the first round, then has another fight, knocks a guy. It's like him getting knocked out or going the distance and getting pounded for fucking 8 rounds.
Wakes up and introduce him again.
That's it, yeah. He said, I used to study theology and learn about the scriptures in the Bible. I was going to be a priest. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That still ain't off the table.
Wow.
This is the interview he's doing is like he's like 50 years old at this point. So not off the table.
Okay.
I don't think you can be a priest. He's got kids and shit. I don't think you can. Well, yeah, you can be something, but
you
not
can be a preacher of some
not
sort.
A priest.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you can join a monastery and be a Catholic priest if you're like
kids and
how's
wife.
it going? Yeah, no, I had about 50 pro fights. I've been married 3 times. You know, I got 5 kids, but I'm looking to be a priest.
Looking to be born again, be a priest now.
Yeah, that's not how it works, man. I don't know, what the requirements are, but I assume 50 years old, multiple marriages and children probably is not in
just
there.
dip it in holy water or blessed whiskey and call it clean.
Although maybe you should, because he's probably not going to fuck any kids. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
I mean,
yeah.
He might get into some of the ladies that come through there, but
we know what he likes.
That we can deal with. I feel like that's at least consenting adults that we can all talk about. But anyway, yeah, he says that he was up there. He's going to be a priest. He said, that still ain't off the table, but I've had so many hard fights that I'm pulling myself together. I talk very well for a fighter.
Oh, my.
I don't stutter at all. I take Aricept to help restore my memory, but I'm very competent and aware. It's just that I don't know what else to do in my life now that I'm not fighting, which is where a lot of fighters end up.
Yeah.
That's why they fight well past their prime, because they just don't know what else to do.
Very confident without a stutter.
I'm very competent without a stutter. But a guy, when you hear his pro record, you're going to go, the first thing you want to hear from him is does your brain work? Mm-hmm. So I think that's what he has to tell you right away. I'm not punch drunk, first of all, just to let you know. And the guy interviewing him and other people that talk to him say he speaks well. He doesn't talk like a Vander Holyfield or, you see a Vander Holyfield and you're like, oh my God.
Smoking Joe at the end, James.
Oh, yeah, Jesus Christ.
What the fuck was
He was
that?
fighting 15-round championship fights back then. I mean, Holyfield, too, was a guy who fought, he went the distance most of the time. He
when he was
knock out many heavyweights.
When he was on that Dick Abbott show, Dick Cavett show.
Cavett, yeah.
Why did I say Abbott? Dick Cavett show with Muhammad Ali. He was barely intelligible there.
Well, that's Joe Frazier was never a good speaker ever before fighting or anything. Even like people that know him forever.
Sure.
He was always speaking wasn't his.
That's not strong.
His forte,
no.
anyway. And then you add to that getting hit in the head for 15 fucking rounds constantly, and it's a different deal.
Right.
And the way he fought too, he's a short fighter. Yeah. He had to get in close, so he'd have to take blows to give blows. Ali would back off you and pop you and do all that shit, but this guy, it was a different deal. Frazier would have to get inside on you, hit you with that hook. So anyway, he says here he's very competent and aware. He just doesn't know what to do. The first time I went into a boxing gym was in Rochester, New York when I was 16. I was up there staying with my sister. I was on the street one day playing football, and I saw this truck drive by, and it said Main Street Boxing Club. Mm-hmm. We flagged it down, and this white guy was like, "What do you kids want?" We said, "We want a box." He said, "Well, come on then." And they got in the fucking truck and went.
Oh, you can't do that today.
No, but back in the day, that was like, kids were looking for stuff to do, and come on and box. He was like Dennis Wise going through the neighborhood, just like, we want a box, come on down to the gym.
I'm just thinking of safety. You don't just pull somebody over and go, says you do this on the side of your truck. Yeah, I do. Get in.
And they go. I mean,
watch out for
probably a van. It probably wasn't even a truck. It's probably a van. Yeah. But back then, that was considered fine. I mean, we're talking 1979. Mm-hmm.
It's still, questionable.
He's 16, and plus, I think, though, if you get a bunch of kids who are on the street playing football and they're 16 and they're tough enough to where they want to box, maybe they're probably safe in a group.
Maybe that's not the kids you want to be.
It's probably not the kids you want to.
That's the ones you're pandering for anyway.
That's what I mean. Yeah, you're not going to. They're not the first ones you go to molest. Probably.
Right.
They'll fucking knock you out. They're 16. They're not 11.
Right.
They'll be like, "Get the fuck off me, mister! I will knock your ass out."
Atlanta Child Killer didn't do that shit.
This isn't Dudley from Different Strokes. So you're going to take pictures of him in the bicycle shop. This is a different story completely. So, I mean, it's happened. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
He says the first time I got in the ring, they put headgear on me. I didn't want headgear, but they made me wear it. Back then, I didn't think anybody could hurt me. I trained for about a year before my first amateur fight. It was at the Syracuse Dome. Carrier Dome there, which is that'd be wild if that's your first fight and you step into.
It's pretty impressive.
Place holds like 30,000 people. You shit your pants if you walked out of there. He said, quote, some Italian kid beat me on points. I had about 30 amateur fights and I won about 15 of them. When I was 19, I moved to San Francisco to find my half-brother. He didn't wait.
He's he's got a career going. And wait, he's got
no. He's fought a bunch of amateur fights. He just said, "Yeah, I'm very confused." Didn't he say 17 kids, all from the mother,
same dad?
She said the mother. He said my mother had 17 kids, all by the same dad.
Yeah, he didn't say dad had 17 kids. He didn't say dad had.
Yeah, so this might be dad.
Prior to. Had to have been, right?
Prior to, I don't know, going to town, getting feed, I have no idea. If you run a farm and 17 children, how do you have time to be banging, getting these side pieces? What are you doing? This guy's
how's your dick still up?
Wow, the multitasking of this man. I'm impressed. Never mind being impressed by having 17 children and knowing how to box and all that. The time management of this man is remarkable. It really is. Legendary time management on this guy. So, yeah, he goes to find his half-brother. He said, I also went there to fight. I ended up moving to Hollywood, and I trained with all the early champions at the gym at 108th and Broadway. So, he started out in the right place.
Yeah.
Well, it just kind of all went awry. And if they don't get the proper training, these boxers, that's when they fall through the cracks.
Right.
All of our guys that make it big, they all get that one trainer that figured out how to get it out of them. Sure. You know what I mean? And we're talking guys with obviously immense talent anyway, but if you don't know how to put that talent together, a guy with less talent that knows what he's doing will kick your ass in a boxing match. It's not about how tough you are.
Was there a lot of champions that came through Hollywood?
Oh, L.A. had a lot. Yeah, L.A. had a lot. Yeah, people trained there a lot. Okay. That was a big deal. He said, my coaches were Royan, Destroyin Hammond, and Terry Sorrell. Terry fought George Foreman in 1972. I did amateur boxing in California for about a year till I turned pro in 1986. I never fought because I needed money. Fighting made me feel confident. It was something that most people couldn't do. See, this is where he's really... This is where he's starting to parallel stand-up comedy a lot, where he literally was like, I think it's cool that I can go up there and everybody out there would like to be up there but is afraid to be up there. And I think there's a cool feeling in that.
Yeah.
It's the
reason that people start.
It's a confidence thing of, where you're like, everybody out there, because you feel that way in comedy. You're like, everybody out there thinks they're funny. Everybody's got jokes. Everybody's told a joke and been funny. So everybody's like, man, I wish I could do that. But fuck that. I'm not getting up there in front of all these people and saying something, not getting a laugh.
Right.
So I think it's the same feeling with boxing is like, I have the balls to get in that ring and fucking fight. And so that's his kind of what he's getting off on.
But you also, as that person sitting in the audience, and then you see that open mic guy go up, and then you go, I wouldn't do that because I'd bum. And then you're like, oh, that's what it feels like and looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you see this guy, and you're like, I don't want to get in there and fight because what if I lose? And then you watch him, and you're like, that's what I don't want to happen to me.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing he said he was about 500 in his amateur career, so he's not like
that's not great.
He's not destroying the world here. Yeah, so he just likes the feeling of being able to do it. I mean, who knows?
That's not a reason to do anything.
I don't know if it's about, because I mean, also there's always girls afterwards, just things like that. I don't know if he just enjoyed that or if he enjoyed the training.
That's not a reason to do comedy, though.
No, that's
don't
a different.
You dare.
No, that's a different reason. But you said it earlier when we started the show just upstairs before we started the show. I told you that you know how we always wonder about these boxers that lose all these fights in a row. Why the fuck do they keep fighting? You know what?
And you're
like,
out.
yeah, what the hell? Why do they do that? And I'm like, well, why do comics keep doing it? We've seen comics just banging their dicks into the wall for 10 years, 20 years that are just, and we're not even talking, they're not even like working at a low level.
No.
We're doing open mics for 15 years. You're like, what are you doing?
Why do you keep doing this to yourself?
Why are you tormenting yourself? It's the same thing. It's this feeling of maybe it'll work one day. I don't know.
I'm going to keep writing. That's what they keep telling me to do.
And it's a habit now to do it. So what else do I do? That's where their friends are.
Right. This is all I do.
This place says karaoke after the show on Wednesdays with all my friends. And so I go there. And
beers are $1.75. I'll be here every Thursday.
That's what it is. So, he said, fighters have to be a certain way. Boxing actually knocked some sense into my head. I was always a little foolish from the time that mule kicked me.
Hold on.
I was so hoping you would you would stop me there.
Head, body, where?
Apparently head, because it made him a little foolish.
Yeah.
So I was always a little foolish from the time that mule kicked me.
Well, watch Vacation, get kicked again. You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. That's what I mean. I wonder if, like, the mule, and this is a weird thing, but sometimes maybe it kicked something else into his brain that made him learn languages quickly and easily. Though. I mean, it's seriously knocked something else out of whack, but put something else right where it needed to be.
Listen, the brain's very delicate.
You never know. Who knows? I don't know. People have like a brain tumor, and all of a sudden they can do like weird math and shit. Like it presses on the right part of their. I don't know.
Or you jam a screwdriver through your eye and jiggle it around, and all of a sudden you can walk around fine.
That's
you know
true.
I mean?
That happens.
They do
a lot.
that shit too.
Yeah, I did that a couple weeks ago.
That's a lobotomy, though. I mean, they jam it in there and they just mix you up a little
Jiggle
bit.
it up a little, yeah.
And then they wake you up and send you on your way.
It's like a tableside Caesar salad, but a little bit different.
So weird.
So I'm more attentive now than I was before I boxed. So he's saying that boxing, he's saying the more things hit him in the head, whether it be farm animals' feet, hooves, or other men's fucking fists, it helps his brain focus better. We'll take your word for it, Exum. Sure. That's why you're on Crime and Sports, sir. Okay. Probably not.
You must have really been fucked up then.
Yeah, well... So he's an amateur, like we said. He speaks, he does, wins about half of his fights. Somewhere in here, by the way, in the early 80s, because this is when he's in California and he's doing amateur boxing. Sure. Somewhere in here, he ends up in jail at some point for a theft or possession of stolen property, something of that nature. He does a little bit of jail time in California for that, but not enough to derail him really. Just a few months in county or whatever for some
shoplifting of some sort.
It was some minor, I don't know what it was, but it's something to do with a theft and a stolen property issue. So it wasn't a violent crime or anything like that. So he makes his pro debut here on March 25th, 1986 at the Country Club in Reseda. So he's there. He fights David Graves, who's a guy who's 3-0 coming into the fight. So decent. He finishes his career 9-5-6. So he's a journeyman here. And he says that Exum says, quote, "I remember it like it was yesterday."
Okay.
We fought at Reseda Country Club. Of course we did.
Yeah.
David Graves was a top amateur. Nobody fights 6 rounds against a top amateur in their pro debut. I was just a country boy from North Carolina. So, yeah, and he gets beat on points. So Exum's pretty tough. As we'll see, he doesn't get knocked out, like KO'd. He'll get TKO'd because that's the ref stopping it, but he doesn't get knocked out very often. He's got a good chin. He's a tough guy, which makes him a decent opponent because he can hang in there and give the guy a few rounds, even if they're really good. Except if they're like Vladimir Klitschko, who he fights later. And,
really?
Yeah. And as you know, if you've seen boxing in the last 15 years,
Vladimir's a monster.
He's a monster, yeah. I think he was Vladimir's second fight.
Really?
Yeah, it was ugly.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. I'm going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
a big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
So March 29th. So that is 1986, March 25th, 1986. He doesn't have another fight for over a year. So he makes his pro debut, loses, and then doesn't fight again for a long time, which is a strange way to enter boxing. We don't see that very often. He's got a manager at this point. And because he is in the very low levels of things, and he's not like one of these guys that sets the world on fire with talent. He's not one of these guys where, oh shit, did you see that guy punching? And then some big manager wants to manage him. Just not the way it works with this guy. So he has a different manager. Guy named Douglas Stumler is his manager, who sounds like a real...
That's a boxing manager with a day job.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, he had been managing Exum since late 1985.
And also a McDonald's.
No, but you know what? You're not that far off. He's a native of Indiana who moved to Los Angeles. He graduated from the University of Indiana, and then he moves out to L.A., and he works for the housing authority.
Oh,
that's what he does for a living.
He works for the government.
Yeah, he works for like the like the housing authority, like the city, basically. Okay. And so he works there, and then at night he's a boxing manager.
That is a weird dichotomy there.
Yeah, he's like a skinny, like lanky, skinny white guy who does that. It's a very strange
goes
deal.
Around inspecting new builds, and then I'm going to go manage these boxers.
Yeah, I don't think he just does like paperwork. I think he's like an office person for the housing authority, Los Angeles Housing Authority. Like it's just, very, very boring sounding day job. Yeah. And then at night is going to be exciting, and he's going to manage boxers.
Okay.
So that's what happened. Apparently Speight actually lived with him for a while here while they were, training and trying to get fights and shit like that. I guess he's putting his money where his mouth is. I'm gonna make you a star.
Yeah.
Trust me, you can sleep on my couch till it happens. That's how confident I am.
It won't be long. I already know it.
I know it. So he one thing about Stumler that I found is looking him up through the newspapers, I did find in 1977, July 17th to be exact, he wrote to the Louisville Courier Journal in why can't I say Louisville Courier Journal? I could get one correct word out.
It's the O's and U's.
Yeah,
There's
Louisville Courier Journal.
Yeah, that's weird.
It was all fucked up. So he wrote there to the editorial section to complain about Indiana State and their basketball.
They're not in this state, sir.
He said, this is it. You said that Indiana University, not state, Indiana University recruits Ray Tolbert, Steve Risley, and Tommy Baker didn't distinguish themselves against the Kentucky All-Stars. And you asked if IU coach Bobby Knight has had the same kind of recruiting year he had in 1976. Let me remind you that one of Knight's 1976 recruits, Mike Woodson, led IU in scoring and was barely beaten out as a top 10 scoring champ. He was a freshman. I think Woodson and this year's recruits will lead IU to another NCAA championship. God damn it. He didn't say God damn it, but he says the rest of it. So
he's a nightmare.
Douglas L. Stumler, 2009 Bono Road, New Albany, Indiana.
He's got opinions.
And that's him. I found. Looking him up, he's from New Albany and his middle initial is L. So it's definitely him.
Wow.
So this is the guy we're talking about. He's very
fire and brimstone for sports.
But he's really into Indiana University basketball because he went to the university, and wow, is he into basketball, which actually is a big thing that kind of big part of this case is that he's really into basketball.
Really?
Yeah, as we'll find out. About mid-March of 1987, this is a year after Exum's first fight, Stumler kicks him out of the apartment.
Oh?
This is in the 1200 block of La Cienega Boulevard in L.A. So that's where they live. So he ends up kind of couch surfing here at this point. Exum does, going around because he was staying here for quite a while with Stumler. And apparently Stumler, time goes by, a couple weeks. This is mid-March. He kicks him out. Then March 29th, 1987, Stumler is with a friend, hanging out that night, does some socializing, returns to his apartment alone. It's a Sunday night. Later on that night, that same friend called him and he didn't answer his phone. So the guy said, oh, maybe he's asleep or whatever, whatever. I'll talk to him tomorrow. But a couple days go by, specifically the next day goes by, and it was part of the NCAA championship, and Indiana was in it.
Oh.
So he's supposed to meet with all his friends and watch the Indiana game. This is
everything to him.
This is, as we saw, he's pretty fucking passionate about it. He wrote that to a newspaper.
Right.
Think about that.
In another state.
No, that's where he's from at the time because he went to Indiana University.
But it was written to the Louisville National.
Oh, to the Kentucky,
right.
to Louisville. But they're all right there, though.
Yeah, but it's over there.
They're all, it's Kentuckiana,
it's
they call it.
else.
It's all the same shit. It's all the same. They don't consider it another state. It's all the same shit. It's Kentuckiana. That's what it is there. It's fucking gross. Sorry, guys.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is separate of all that stuff. They're like, you can try to include us, but no.
We don't do that.
That's you guys. Yeah, sorry. So, but him not being there is like, what the fuck? Where the hell is Stumler, man? The game's on. What the shit?
Bobby's already on the court.
Yeah, so he doesn't show up, and they ended up winning too. The Hoosiers.
Oh,
is the other thing.
He missed it,
and he doesn't show up. And his friends are like, okay, that's not right. His one friend says, quote, we all knew something wasn't right at that point. So a friend of his went to Stumler's apartment and knocked on the door, gets no answer. They found like his car's in the parking lot, but he's not answering. Didn't come to the Indiana game.
We got problems.
This seems odd, right? So he goes down, gets the building manager, his friend does, and says, explains the situation. Let's do a welfare check on my boy here. And so the manager agrees to do it, which normally a lot of times a building manager would go, call the cops if you want a welfare check. But no. So they walk in the apartment, and they do find Douglas in the apartment. Problem is he has been beaten, stabbed, and strangled.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. The cause of death, they call it multiple causes of death. Mm-hmm. Like anything.
Any of these could have done it.
Strangulation, the stabbing, or the beating could have caused it. It's just there's a lot happened to him. The homicide detective at the time, Detective Jackson, whose name will come up later we have one of the craziest conspiracy theories probably out there ever. I mean, there's a lot of crazy conspiracy theories in the world.
Yeah.
This one is amazing.
There's a few.
It's wild. Do you remember that small town murder we did where the lady was like, listen, there's that hat of mine.
Right.
And the person that has the hat blew up a bank and like this whole crazy thing. It's that level crazy.
Yeah.
It's why Mark Furman's involved.
Yeah.
It's seriously, it's insane.
It took 2 days for me to understand you meant Pharrell.
Meant what?
Pharrell's hat.
Did you really?
2 fucking days.
Jeez.
I sat here after you called me an asshole for not understanding a New York accent, and I was like, Farrell? What is Farrell? What Will Ferrell? And then 2 days later, somebody tweeted me a picture of Pharrell, and
I'm like, at the
Grammys
with the hat.
I was like, I don't know why Will Ferrell would have been there.
At the Grammys with a hat? I'm not sure. Did he play like, what's his name? What the fucking
Dudley
Mountie?
Do-Right.
There you go. I was going to call him Dudley Doolittle.
That's what we did last time.
Yeah. Fucked it all up. It's not going to help.
Anyhow.
So this Detective Jackson said, quote, there was evidence of a pretty violent struggle that stretched across the apartment. There were multiple causes of death, including strangulation and stab wounds. This was not a quick thing.
Somebody was angry.
Somebody was angry and really took their time and had a field day with this guy. Mm-hmm. It was all over the apartment. Apparently the murder scene was not limited to even in a room. It was all over the place. Beatings, stabbings, I don't know what happened, but it was a brutal thing. It seems like something that someone in another apartment would have fucking heard.
Yeah.
Apartments are small. That kind of life and death struggle over the course of a whole apartment.
Yeah.
Someone would be banging on the floor. Shut the fuck up there. I'm trying to sleep. Jesus, I'm watching the Indiana game. Shut up. So, multiple causes of death. He's he was a counselor for the Los Angeles Housing Authority. That's what he was. He's from New Albany, Indiana. I have his obituary here.
Oh, no.
So there's that. He was buried in the Graceland Memorial Park Mausoleum.
Really?
At the Kraft Funeral Home.
I don't know where that is.
I don't know either. Where is this? What are we talking about here? Oh, it's New Albany. It's back Indiana. Okay. So there we go. Now, the first person they look at is Exum Speight.
Yeah.
Exum, he was a roommate. He's a physically an imposing dude.
Oh, he could do this.
That could dominate Douglas physically and, get this job done. He's got motive. He got kicked out of the fucking house.
Sure.
There's a lot of stuff going on here, and the beaten severely was a big part of it.
Right.
There was other suspects too, though, because he had other boxers he was dealing with and stuff. So there was a lot of kind of people in and out that we didn't know what ended up happening here. But Speight is the guy they're looking at, to the point where they bring him in. They question him multiple times. Homicide detectives sit him down. He takes multiple polygraph examinations. And most of the time what they're doing with a polygraph is they're trying to eliminate people,
right,
rather than
they're not accused.
They're looking for that.
Sometimes, yeah.
If they get the guy they think it is, and that's the thing, then it's all kind of subjective, because it's kind of, what do you want me to find? But for the most part, it's let's thin the herd. If we have 100 suspects, that's not going to work. So let's thin the herd. If we get 5 whose answers were a little shaky, then we can go look at those 5. But the other 95, we don't want to waste time with them. So he passes multiple polygraph examinations about the murder, about everything. They don't know what to do. They throw their shoulders up and say, must have been somebody else. And they kind of push him aside as a suspect. Okay. Which, multiple polygraphs, what more can you do? You don't have the physical evidence on him, and he says he didn't do it, and then he passes multiple polygraphs. As a detective, you go, okay, well, how long can you beat the same door down if it's not opening?
You got to walk away from this one.
Yeah, at some point you got to go, okay, that's not the guy, and you walk away. So Exum continues his boxing career. Sure. In May of '87, he's at the Showboat Hotel and Casino in Vegas, which was the same time that AWA was taping their wrestling there. So I wonder if
that place has been popular.
He could have crossed paths with wrestling, which would have been hilarious. So imagine him crossing paths with wrestling. Maybe it'll happen. Who knows? So he fights Marcellus Allen, who's 4-0 coming in and 13-2 in his career. Okay. As you might imagine, he beats Exum by points. So Exum starts out 0-2 for his career.
That's not good.
It's not great. No. Not wonderful. He says, in my second fight, I fought in Las Vegas at the Showboat Hotel. I lost on points to Marcellus Allen. He was another undefeated fighter. I was like, what are these guys trying to do to me? They were trying to find an easy fighter to beat. He said, but I wanted them to start treating me better. I was 4-2 for a little while with these promoters, these handlers. They tried to piss in my face and tell me it was raining.
He's so Southern.
That's he's hilarious. When you start fighting, you get a mentality that nobody can hurt you. You get mad and you want to prove everybody wrong. If I could rectify it, I would have done things differently. Yeah, fought guys that couldn't beat you at first, probably. October 2nd, '87, he's at the Kazar Pavilion in San Francisco. He fights Walter Stark, who this is his debut. Okay. And his career, he finishes 0-2.
Okay.
So Exum
finally gets a win.
Exum knocks him out. Yeah. So there you go. 1-2 for Exum. Right. Hooray. He's got to win, everybody. December 17th, 1987, Centennial Hall. He fights Gilbert Valenzuela, 3-0-1 coming in, and he knocks him out too.
Great.
So Exum's 2-2.
Yeah.
He got to 500, baby. This is awesome. Making of another Mike Tyson coming up here. So this is when, by the way, he makes a transition here from cruiserweight to heavyweight at some point, because he has a problem. He's fighting cruiserweight and he has a problem making weight.
Really?
So then he just becomes a heavyweight. Yeah, he gets
smart. And those guys are a little faster too.
The cruiserweights are faster, yeah. But I mean, if you're power though, if power is your game, you're thinking, you'd rather try to knock out a guy who weighs 190 pounds and someone who weighs 230.
Right.
And the punching power coming back at you is way less too. So
right, but if they're faster, you don't have time to regain your feet to throw that power anyway.
Exum's a tweener. That's his problem. He's brutal. Not quite a cruiserweight, not quite a heavyweight, and it shows in his career.
But if you can't make weight and they're faster than you, just
do it.
Fight heavies anyway.
You gotta. So January 23rd, 1988, he fights again. He fights Tim Silky Jones.
Yeah.
Silky.
Gross.
Silky doesn't deserve a nickname.
No.
Silky is 2-9 coming into this fight. You're not Silky.
No.
And he didn't turn it around either. He's 2-10-1 for his career.
Silky one because he's soft.
Yeah, he's
getting his ass kicked.
Got a high thread count.
Yeah.
That's his fucking deal. That's Silky. This is a draw, this fight. Okay. So he fights Silky to a draw.
Oh, boy.
Silky smooth draw. It's 2-2-1 for his record now. Next, November 4th, 88, he fights in San Francisco versus Edgar Guevara. This is his debut in boxing. 1-3 career for him. And Exum wasn't supposed to be in this fight. That's the thing here. This was he's a late replacement, I guess. It wasn't till the night of the fight that Edgar Guevara found out that he wasn't fighting the guy he thought he was fighting.
Really?
That day they told him, yeah, you're not fighting him. You're fighting this other guy named Exum Speight. He's won his last 2 fights by knockout. Enjoy. He's like, fuck.
What?
This is bullshit.
Can't do that to people.
Yeah, now Exum, who had to rush there, failed to show up in time for the weigh-in.
Okay.
Because he was rushing there. They just called him. We're like, can you fight tonight? He's like, shit, yeah. So it's not how boxing works.
No.
They train for fights.
Right.
This is why these guys lose a lot.
It's not comedy because the feature overslept.
That's what I mean. You get down there, you've got a set all locked and loaded, but this guy needs to be in shape. It's a different thing. So he says, I guess he didn't get there in time. He's fined $75, which is probably half his fucking purse. Right. And I guess he reportedly weighed 200 pounds when he entered the ring, Speight did. So it's too heavy for a cruiserweight. Yeah. And the result here, Speight kicks his ass.
Really?
Yeah, he beats him in 2 rounds. And the guy was pissed off.
Oh, I'm sure.
He said, that certainly isn't any way to develop young local talent. In fact, it's a good way to kill it.
Absolutely.
There you go. TKO win here. So he's 3-2-1. He's over 500, Jimmy.
He's doing it.
He's doing it. December 15th, 1989, Solano County Fairgrounds in Vallejo. He fights Terry Verners, who's 4-9-2 coming in. Finishes his career 8-26-2. Verners?
Yeah.
Not great.
Not the ginger ale.
It's not Vernors. It's Verners.
Oh,
I knew you were
okay.
going ginger ale,
Yep.
though. I thought, because that was my first thought, too.
Yeah.
It was, the ginger ale man.
There he is.
Terry Ginger Man Verners. So this fight goes the distance.
Okay.
Exum wins it, though. He's 4-2-1.
Wow.
Grace. This is most certainly grace.
More wins than losses and draws combined.
He's fucking killing it. 4-2-1. Should have retired right now.
Yeah.
Grace. March 6th, 1992. I don't know if you noticed that gap.
That's a small gap.
December 15th, 89 was his last fight.
Yeah.
To March 92.
3 years later.
3 years later.
Really got to bask in the afterglow of grace.
Well, he's got to really feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at me. Just walked around telling everyone he's 4-2-1 for 2 years. Everybody, I'm 4-2-1. Yeah,
great fighter.
I'm a pro. I kick people's asses.
On my way up.
So, yeah, he's 4-2-1. This is definitely grace. There's almost a 3-year gap here, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I can't find out. I don't know if he was in jail.
Yeah.
Based on the way he lives his life, it seems like he might have been in jail.
He was up to something.
Or something was going on, but I can't find it because they don't advertise. There's nobody in the newspapers were putting out big articles on a guy who's 4-2-1 and has no future.
Right.
If they get arrested, they don't care. So that's what happens. So this fight, he fights Ernest M16 Mateen.
Oh,
there you go. He's getting fancy. This guy's a real fighter. 4-0-1 coming in, 30-12-3 for his career. So it's a good fighter. He loses by unanimous decision. Exum does 4-3-1. Next fight is at Harrah's in Atlantic City. It's in April 7th, 92. So now he's going to start.
Yeah.
He's got to make that $100 a month off of this or whatever
Real
the hell he's
fight.
making. He's got to get his feature salary.
Rent to pay.
Got rent to pay. He fights Gerard Jones, who's 9-0-1 coming in, 25-2 for his career.
God.
So this is a TKO loss for Exum. 4-4-1.
That's a bummer that I don't know who that guy is. That seems like a good fighter.
He's a good fighter. Yeah, there's so many good fighters that you've never heard of.
That's wild.
You ever heard of Honey Boy Lou Del Valle?
No, but I do like it.
There you go. He's his next fight here in October of 92. This guy's 6-0 coming in, 36-6-2 for his career.
That's what was Ali? He was 48?
Yeah, I think he was 58.
58.
5-1, maybe some shit like that.
That's a very fucking respectable number.
That's a really good record. 36-6-2 is a goddamn good record. I mean, you're not Muhammad Ali, you're not, but there's 7 guys who have these
you
amazing
win
records.
6 and lose 1 for your entire career.
Pretty good, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, you're not Joe Louis, but that's not bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and he fights, like I said, this fight here, probably not going to go well for Exum.
No.
Let's be honest here. He says that Del Valle, by the way, is known for being the first guy to ever knock down Roy Jones Jr.
Oh.
That's who. So he's got some pop in him. This fight, Exum says, quote, I had to lose 3 pounds before the weigh-in. Yikes. The night before, I had some plastic on, and I went running to get the pounds off. That's not great.
Like you put like saran wrap around his belly?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That's bad stuff, man. You're not going to be strong after that.
That seems desperate.
It's also not good for you.
Yeah.
He says, it made me weak, but I didn't want to forfeit the fight and have to pay them the money, because if you forfeit, you have to pay. He said, Lou is a southpaw, and I didn't know how to fight southpaws. Never been trained to fight. I mean, this is his training isn't there. Right. We don't know. Who knows? If he was trained properly, maybe he'd have a much better record, but you don't send a guy in to fight a good up-and-comer who's 6-0, who's a lefty, and he doesn't even know how to fight lefties. That's just not the way you do fights.
How do you get to be a professional and you only can fight, 80% of the population?
It's just rare.
Yeah.
Left-handed boxers are much more rare.
Is it 20%, you think?
No, it's less than that.
Is it less than?
Yeah, it's less than that. And in boxing, it's just not that big.
Yeah.
There's not that many. And also, guys avoid southpaws because they don't know how to fight them that well. It's a good way to get a cheap loss is to fight a guy who's less good than you, but you don't less good, not as good as you, but you can't, fight him. So
less talented.
He said he hit me with a left hand and I went down. I got up and the referee asked me where I was. I told him Madison Square Garden. He was at the Paramount Theater in New York, which is Madison Square Garden. So
is it?
It's one of the.
Oh, it's one of the
Felt Forum, Paramount. They're all in there. Mm-hmm. He said my knees sort of locked up on me, and he said, "Come back and fight another day." Yeah, his knees. Then he buckled his knees. Yeah. So I was like, "Yeah, no,
I know where I am, but I'm hurting."
You're in a side room, and no. So TKO loss for him, 4-5-1. Next fight's at the Palace in Auburn Hills. So this is when Ron Artest isn't using it to fight. This is where he fought. He fights Richard Action Jackson, who we've talked about before because his name is Action Jackson, and I love that his name is Dick Action. Dick Action Jackson sounds like
it's pretty good.
It sounds like an action figure with like a dick that does things if you pull his arm down.
Yeah.
He gets like a big heart on. And
also, every porn actor has now blown it if you did not pick that name.
He should have picked
That's
that
a
name.
solid name.
It is. He's 6-0 coming in also. He's fighting only 6-0 guys. This guy 22-4 for his career.
Yeah.
Good fighter. Never heard of him other than this show. Unanimous decision loss for Exum, 4-6-1. Next fight, he fights Leo Paco Nolan, and he comes in 4-0. This guy 27-2 for his career.
I was going to say, I think I know. I think I've heard of that guy. I'd like to know who he's fought because I think I've seen it before.
Good fighter. Unanimous decision loss for Exum, of course, 4-7-1. And basically, he said that nobody was looking out for his best interests. Right. And that he's getting mismatched. He's getting put in.
Yeah, they're also
really good fighters,
somehow
one after the other,
picking guys that are going to be fine for a career.
Yeah, well, they're all up and comers, and then he's the tomato can Exum, and it's like, Jesus, what am I?
Yeah,
he's not old enough to be a tomato can at this point. Like, you do that to a guy who's 10-10. You don't do it to a guy who starts out his career 4-2-1. And you start putting him in against these killers. That's not right. So yeah, he said that he just wanted to prove everybody wrong. And didn't do a good job of it.
No.
June 12th, 93, he fights in Pittsburgh Leroy Seals, who's 1-0 coming in, finishes his career 3-1.
Okay.
I don't know what happened.
He figured it out.
This is his loss, though. Exum beats him. It's 5-7-1. June 25th, 1993, he fights Quiet Man John Ruiz. You know who John Ruiz is, right?
So.
He's still fighting. He fought Holyfield like 3 times. Wow. He was the first Mexican heavyweight champion.
Okay.
Here he's
still fighting.
I think he stopped finally, but he was fighting well past when he should have been fighting. Yeah, he fought till like 2017.
I don't like that.
No, think about it. He fought till like
right. If you fought in the 80s, hang him up.
Yeah, it's 93.
Yeah.
Now, and he was 13-0 at this point coming in. He ends up being 44-9-1 for his career.
That's great.
But yeah, Ruiz he's a really tough fighter. He's really tough, and he beats obviously Exum with a unanimous decision, 5-8-1 for Exum. And Exum says, quote, Ruiz had a big forehead.
Okay.
That's his first line about him. Ruiz had a big forehead. He was tough, man, real tough. He was in condition. I was in shape, but he was in condition. There's a difference. Your body looks different when you're in condition. It's hard to build your offense with Ruiz. He held me a little bit. He knew how to hustle the rounds. He knew how to make the judges give him more points. Ruiz is a good gentleman. He's real humble. Okay. So, yeah, he's a good boxer. He knows how to work. That's the thing. These journeymen, not that Ruiz is a journeyman, but these guys that are kind of pros, they know how to milk it. They know what to do. They can really frustrate a young fighter or a guy who's inexperienced really easily. February 5th, 94, here, he fights Brian Special K. Smith.
Okay. Why?
Exactly. I stopped and looked at you after I said it like, yep, let that settle in. Where's the K come
you
from?
Don't get that. So.
There is not a K in either of those words.
Maybe that's why it's so special.
Bryant Smith.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. 3-2 coming in. This is another loss for Exum. 5-9-1. Next, he's at Caesar's Palace in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
That's something. He fights a guy with a nickname where I want to kick him in the balls for it. And he's a good fighter, too, so I don't know if kicking him in the balls would be a good idea. He's a 14-0 guy coming in, finishes his career 19-2.
Wow.
So not bad, but John Andrade, who calls himself the American Dream.
Yeah.
You're not Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it.
And what's his name?
John Andrade.
That doesn't sound very American.
Well, he could be American. Why not?
No.
My last name's Pietragallo. I'm not American.
No, you're Italian.
But I'm born here. I'd be the American. But he's not the American Dream. That's Dusty Rhodes, goddamn you.
Too.
So anyway, he beats the shit out of Exum either way.
Okay.
So there's that. Exum loses. Next 94, March 6, 94, he fights. That's 5 days later, by the way. Mm-hmm. He loses by unanimous decision. So the fight goes the distance, and then he fights 5 days later.
My God.
Yeah, fights at a Catholic youth center in Scranton.
That feels like it was for charity.
No. That's what WWF used to do, like their C shows there in the 80s at those Catholic youth centers and shit.
It's hilarious.
1,500 people can fit. So this is versus Tommy Quinn, who's 6-3 coming in, so not bad. This one, Exum actually wins it somehow, but a split decision. So another...
Oh, no.
He's fought... 2 full fights in 5 days.
Right.
That's crazy. Well, even crazier, 2 weeks later, he's fighting again. And this time versus a really good fighter, like world class, Chris Bird. You know who Chris Bird is? Chris Bird's a lefty, first of all. He's a southpaw, and he's a really smooth, slick fighter.
I think I do know him. Did he fight Tyson?
I don't think he fought Tyson, but he used to fight on HBO all the time.
Okay.
On Showtime, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, he was on all the time. He look like his body. He looks kind of softish. He doesn't have like a ripped body, but he just like that's the way I remember.
That's the guy to fucking worry about.
Man, he was just this smooth ass mother. He was really smooth and nasty. Chris Bird. He was 2-0 coming in. Mm-hmm. His career record though 41-5-1.
Wow,
and he is no joke too. He's a bad motherfucker. This goes the distance, but Bird kicks his ass. Sure. So, and I love his quote about it too. Yeah, I tell you what, let's do it in their own words here because this is about as good as Exum gets. I would love to be so honest about anything here. He says, in their own words, quote, Chris beat the shit out of me. I used to train with Chris and his dad. He told me before the fight, I'm going to beat you, Exum. We work together all the time. I couldn't do anything with him. He was so fast. You saw him when he fought the older Klitschko. You saw how slick he was. He was a bad motherfucker, and Chris beat the shit out of me. He was like, that was hilarious. That's cool.
And he knew he was going to do it.
He's like, I'm going to beat you, dude. Like, we fight all...
I know you're best. Yeah, I've seen it.
I'm much better than you,
Doesn't
obviously.
Hurt.
So, come on. So, he fights again in May of 94. He fights Jade the Jewel Scott.
Yeah.
And he's 17-1 coming in. 25-3 for his career. So, guess what?
Yeah.
He beat Exum.
Of course.
Exum's a solid 6-12 at this point.
My God.
Jesus.
This is where it is. You read that stat and you just go, no, this
stop.
isn't your thing.
Stop. Do something else. Nope. He keeps fighting. In August 94, he's at the Foxwoods in Massachusetts fighting Shannon Briggs.
Oh, really?
Shannon Briggs is the guy with the dreads.
Yeah.
He's a really good fighter.
He's awesome.
He beat George Foreman.
Really?
He's not a joke.
Yeah, he did.
He will fight. Yeah, he's a good fighter.
I follow him on Instagram. He is, he's a super weed proponent now? Like
I would see it just by looking at him. He looks
that's where he hangs
like
all his money.
a lot of Xboxers are doing that.
He's doing great.
A lot of Xboxers like weed.
Yeah.
If you have pain and head fog, it's good. So, yeah. Shannon, he says about this fight, quote, Shannon Briggs with the dreadlocks. That guy was real strong, real physical, real good balance. I noticed. He beat George Foreman. A lot of people think Foreman beat him, but I've seen that fight 3 times. George is massive, but Shannon beat him on points. Before the fight, they told me not to mix it up with him, to stay on the outside. How was I going to stay on the outside? I had to come at him. He was taller than me. I tried to bob and weave and get under his shots, but he got me.
He's big as shit.
He's a really good fighter.
Really is.
Yeah. What are you going to stay on the outside so he jabs you all day long and you just get pounded to piss like that?
He likes to go into gyms where the contender or the heavyweight, the champ is at, and he likes to fuck with them. He just hackles them. He screams at him. Come on, champ.
He's great. And he
tries to get him to fight him out without a purse. What? No,
sir. See, this is my job.
Yeah, he's like, I want to face you.
You're like, yo, do a podcast. No,
no.
Do I have ads on that?
Climb in here with me. Let's talk about
this. Patreon?
No, thank you.
No, then what am I doing? It's my job.
That's Shannon Briggs.
That's Shannon Briggs.
That's what he's doing.
So he whoops his ass. It's a TKO loss, obviously. So his next fight is versus Terry McGroom.
Oh.
Who's 10-0 coming in, though. Ends up 19-9, so nothing special. But 10-0 coming in, and he beats the shit out of Exum.
Yeah.
You notice a pattern here?
Yeah. Makes Exum a bride.
Yeah. May 5th, 1995, he fights Vincent Bulware, who's 27-8-1 coming in. Yeah, guess what?
Yeah.
Beats Exum.
Of course he does.
You know how this is going, right? Yeah. June 19th, 95, he fights James House of Pain Stanton.
Oh, no.
Come on, man. If he comes out to 95.
You can't anymore.
No. First of all, it's 3 years out of date.
Yeah.
And if he comes out to jump around, he should be banned from the ring. Yeah. So James House of Pain Stanton, 14-0 coming in, though. Mm-hmm. Not bad. And he beats the shit out of Exum.
Yeah.
So you see this pattern emerging.
That's what you call a white guy that's bald. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's up, House of Pain?
It's not a few House of Pain.
Yeah.
That's what you say to.
Pretty much.
It's a joke. You don't use that serious.
House of Pain.
It's an insult at that point.
Maybe he thought, you know what? Maybe he wasn't even into
he's never heard it.
He
never even heard it.
Never even heard it.
Everybody asks him that. You a big fan? What?
Yeah.
What?
They're like, yeah, jump around, asshole. And he's like, what are you talking about? Why would I do that?
I'm going to fuck you up.
I'm a boxer. And then he punches them. So, that's how he got into the business. He hit a guy who happened to be in the business, and they were like, you hit pretty good, kid. Next thing you know, there you go. He jumped in the van, and he went down to the gym. So, July 26, 95, he fights Sam Hampton, who's 8-2 coming in, and he knocks out Exum.
Oh,
Exum is 6-17-1 right now.
This is not good.
This is going very poorly.
Yeah.
August 24th, 1995 versus Howard Alston, 10-1 coming in, lost by decision.
How do you show up?
Why do you show up is a better word. October 17th, 95, he fights William K.O. Morris, who's 14-11-1 coming in. So calm down on the KO.
Yeah.
And he can't even KO Exum. He beats him by a decision.
Oh my.
So 6-19-1. Next fight is against Samuel Mabenjob, which sounds like a sexual move.
It does.
Bend job.
Yep.
Mabenjob? That definitely sounds like some sort of sexual thing. I'm trying to figure out what it would be, and I'm going to have to come up with that later, but Mabenjob.
Somebody's bent over for sure.
There's a bend in there. That's what I mean. I feel like it's definitely from the back. Trying to figure out, the orifice involved. I'm not positive. He's got one of those
curved dicks, and that's his bend job.
Maybe that's what you got to. Well, then you'd be giving him a bend job, wouldn't you?
I don't know. You bend over and take his bend job.
Maybe that's what he asked you. He's like, "Yo, man, or lady, or whoever he's into," and he's like, "About a bend job." He whips it out, and he's like, "There's no other way to do that. It's bent."
Can you bend?
Can you bend and give me a bend? A bend job. So this is he beats the shit out of Exum and beats him. So there's that.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
That didn't take much.
Yeah.
So November 18th, 95, he fights Jeff Lally. Lost by decision.
Yeah.
Again, December 1st, 95, what's his name? Imamu Young Ben Mayfield. He goes by Young Ben is his nickname.
Because that first name's fucking...
It's Imamu, so it's
I'll
harder.
never get it.
Young Ben. Young Ben's 8-1 coming in, and he beats up old Exum at this point by decision. So December 7th, 95, in Philly, he fights Terrence K.O. Lewis. It's not if you're thinking about calling yourself K.O., it's been done. Retire.
Boxing? Probably.
2 of the last 6 guys he fought are KO, so it's enough already. So Terrence Lewis, 12-1 coming in, 32-15-1 for his career, and he does KO Exum. So as advertised, nice job. I mean, fuck it.
Yeah.
Good work, sir.
Can't get him for false advertising.
No, he's KO. That's right. Either I'll get knocked out or I'm knocking him out. Right. February 96, he fights Christoph Bizot.
Oh, boy.
Bizot. So I assume it's Bizot if his first name is Christoph.
Probably.
Yeah, he's 15-2 coming in. You want to see this guy now?
Kind of, yeah.
Like, I'd fight this guy. Put it that way. I'm sure he'd kick my ass, but I'd fight that guy.
Oh.
He's like a
chest.
Balding.
Yeah. He's in shape.
Sort of.
Yeah.
He's in shape like a guy in the 70s was in shape. He's not fat, but he's
hairy,
not.
Right. He's hairy from clavicles to belly button.
Tons of chest hair. His head hair is not doing well.
No, it's all down there.
It's very
But I mean,
wispy.
he's got some definition in the shoulder, right?
He's a big guy. He's over 200 pounds, but he doesn't look like a heavyweight contender.
I'm not shaking in my boots.
No.
I don't know that I'm going to fight him.
Yeah, you're probably not going to fight him at the bar, but you wouldn't bet on him either if he was.
If you told me 3 months train and fight this guy for a sack of cash, I'm in. I'm not that scared.
No, exactly. Well, this is a DQ loss. I don't know what the fuck happened here, but he loses by maybe he just gave up and kicked him in the nutsack. I don't know what he did. He lost it. He couldn't take it anymore. Yeah. So, he's 6-24-1 at this point, man.
If you're that bad at your job, you don't show up anymore, right?
I would think not.
It's fascinating you can't get fired from boxing.
You can't. It's impossible. They'll let you keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well, most states, and we'll talk about a lot of states, will not let you do it.
Yeah.
Based on your record, they're like, we're not going to let you fight.
Right.
You're just going to go out there and get beat up. And a lot of states won't let you do it.
Good.
March 1996, Larry Prather, he's 12-12 coming in, and he beats the shit out of Exum. Wow. April 16th, 96, at the Big Kahuna nightclub in Wilmington, North Carolina, or Delaware, one of the two. I don't know which one. He fights David Iziguirre, who's 17-1 coming in, finishes his career 23-1.
That's a great fighter.
It's a good fighter. Good record, anyway. I don't know who he fought.
Yeah.
Well, he fought Exum, and he TKO'd him here. So Exum is 6-26-1 right now.
I don't get it.
Why?
I don't get it.
July 7th, 96, ABC Sports Complex, Springfield, Virginia. He fights a guy I actually know of. He fights Zuri Lawrence, who my stepmother's father was here.
Really?
My stepmother's father's his trainer and manager.
No kidding.
5-star boxing in Beacon, New York.
So he was
He's
at this
dead
fight,
now.
probably.
Yeah, he was his trainer, but he's in his fucking corner. He was fucking holding a spit bucket, fucking telling him to go out there and beat that bum's ass.
Rubbing Vaseline on his face.
This is he was his manager till he died.
Wow.
And Jim Fredericks was his name. Till he died. Zuri Lawrence. I remember that was his big guy. He went over to Europe with him, all this type of shit. He had a gym. He built a gym in the yard. He built this structure that was like the size of like a 2-car garage in his yard in Beacon, New York there. And,
people fought in it.
That was his gym, 5-star boxing, and he had a shitload of fighters in there, and he had good fighters.
That's fascinating.
Zuri Lawrence was a decent contender. His career, he was 24, 15, and 4.
That's not bad.
Decent guy, but I mean, he was doing it for 30 years. He's had tons of different guys, and as a kid, every time we went over there, I'd go right into the gym and I loved it. It was the greatest.
Want to hear that pop?
Oh, it was the greatest thing in the world. Plus, he had a fucking ring.
Yeah,
he had a real ring.
Yeah.
So like we went right to the top rope. I mean, it was in the ring. I liked all the boxing outside, all the bags and everything. But then in the ring, it was we're going WWE.
We're wrestling.
I learned how to bounce off the ropes and fucking seriously come off the top. I got to play in a ring when I was a kid all the time.
Awesome.
It was great. I could climb a turnbuckle and come off it like Macho Man Savage when I was a kid. I was so fast at it. Just grab the top, spring yourself up. It's awesome. So anyway, he fights Zuri Lawrence, who beats him, obviously. Good job there. Good for him.
He did it.
Good work.
Your family created something.
Good work there.
No losers.
So at this point, he's 6-27-1. Exum is.
I can't imagine.
And he has lost 15 fights in a row. Legitimately, just lost 15 straight fights.
That's a lot.
What the fuck are you doing?
Forget everything at the beginning. Whatever you did right, even you can discount all of it because you are 0-15.
You just lost 15 straight fights, man. Like. Why do you stop at 10? Wouldn't you go double digit in a row? I'm done. 15 and you keep pressing?
If a pitcher lost 15 games in a row, he's traded and fired,
well,
right?
I mean, I guess, there was that guy. It depends on pitching is different because you can get a loss and throw a great game.
I suppose.
You can throw a great game, come out, a guy gives up one of your runs and then your team doesn't score shit and they rack stuff up. You got a loss. You're done. So
but
it's hard to.
As a batter, if you strike out or don't get a hit for 15 straight at bats,
it's a slump.
You're going to go find a slump buster, right?
I would think so.
You better hurry.
That's like 3 games, though. 3 games, maybe 4 if it's a
no hits out of 4 games. That's
a lot. But it happens a lot. But boxing is different. You've gotten beaten up 15 straight times. That's 3 days, 15 straight fucking at bats. That's nothing. This is 15 times you've gone to a ring and another man has beat the shit out of you to a point where other people have judged him the winner. Or you've been physically unable to continue. One of the two. It's like, it's a lot.
Taking the will to go on out.
They just drained it from you. So they said in this interview, the guy asked him throughout 1995 all the way to 1996, of August of 1996, you lost 14 fights in a row. What was going on with your career at that time, and what compelled you to continue boxing?
Best question of all time.
Right? That's why he's doing this article, and it's great. He said, quote, I had a reputation as a guy from the farm. I came out to the big city to do this, and I didn't have a manager a lot of the times. I was a road fighter. I was always on the road. I never had a home. I would sleep in hotels. I knew a lot of promoters around the world. They had numbers where they could get in touch with me, and they would call me if they needed someone. They just needed a warm body for their contender to beat the shit out of. He wasn't being trained. He wasn't being managed. He was just going out and getting beat up. Just a tough guy who got beat up. That's tough, man.
I can't think of anything that I would have to fail 15 times in a row and then keep doing it. There's nothing I would do.
Over the course of like 2 years, too, it's just like this beat up. Just a pummeling constantly. You've been knocked out. You go the distance. So, he said when I fought, I would hire a second and a cut man. There were times I'd show up at a fight and I wasn't supposed to fight, but they had to fill up the card, so they put me in. Like stand-up, but boxing, like I said, you got to be prepared for that.
Right.
You don't know if I just ate a big meal. Like, I'm not ready to fucking fight. Like, you got to be ready to fight.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. The other guy's been training for 2 months, and you're just going to step in there. So naturally, they thought I was there to make their guy look good. A few times, I was asked by promoters to take it easy on their guy or some bullshit. Easy? Are you crazy? Is he going to go easy on me?
Right.
Yeah, they're trying to kick my ass. This isn't like... This isn't basketball where, I'll let you go, oh, oof, good move, and you go by me a couple of times. Taking it easy means me getting punched in the face more. Fuck that. That's what that means.
Yeah.
No, you're not beating my ass. He said, I didn't have a winning record, but I was crafty. Sometimes I beat one of their guys, but they would give him the decision. It was so dirty. They would treat you like a whore.
That's comedy.
That sounded exactly like comedy, but they would give him the decision. It was so dirty. They'd treat you like a whore. A lot of people were taking money from me. Managers and promoters sometimes signed my name for me on the contract. Jesus Christ. They would have me fight a heavyweight, and sometimes I'd fill my pockets just so I made 200 pounds.
What?
You'd have to make weight for heavyweight if he was under.
You just jam shit in his pants?
He's a tweener, so
Wow.
you put a fucking lemon in your pocket or something, make your, weight,
a couple
little
extra
weight.
ounces? I don't know. That's wild.
That's crazy, man. So I'd make 200 pounds. People ask me, why are you fighting these guys, Exum? I knew I was getting mistreated, but I wanted to prove them wrong. I wanted to show them I could do it. I always thought that it would be my night. I felt like shit when I lost. He really thought he could do it. He's like, I could turn it all around tonight. It'd be magical. Imagine if I beat Shannon Briggs, man. That'd be amazing. Yeah, it would be, but you're not going to.
It'd be fucking incredible. Yeah.
That's the difference.
Not ever. There's never. He's trying to hit the lottery.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, wow, imagine if I
scratch tickets.
Imagine if I was just better than I am.
Yeah.
And it just happened. Maybe, you know what happened? Maybe last night while I was sleeping, fairies came, magically sprinkled me with boxing dust, and today, I don't know why, but I'm just going to be better. Maybe it'll be like angels in the outfield today, and like they'll show up and they'll be grabbing my hands and making them work.
Yeah,
fucking
Throwing fists for me.
Tony Danzel croaking, it'll be fine. Everything's going to be great. So, I always felt like shit when I lost. It wasn't something I ever got used to, even when I lost a bunch of fights in a row. I remember all my fights. I remember who I fought and where we fought. My family thought I was going to get hurt or handicapped. They were worried that one day they would have to take care of me and put me in a home, but I survived all of that.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So August 96 in Louisville, he fights Sean Process.
Server?
Sean Process Server. He was just there to give him a fraternity suit, and he was like, oh, fuck, I got to get punched. He's an 0-5 career fighter coming in.
Oh, my.
And for his career, he's 0-6 because Exum knocks him out.
Retired him.
He wins. Knockout win. 7-27-1.
Yeah.
He did it.
And Sean was like, if I can't beat him, I can't beat anybody.
And he retired.
Yeah.
If you get knocked out by him, it's over.
Yes.
You retire.
Yeah.
In shame. August 16th, so a week, 9 days later in Altoona, Pennsylvania, he fights Tom Deiling, who's 6-2 coming in, and he wins this fight too.
Oh, 2 in a row.
2 in a row. He's hot.
Oh, boy.
He's hot.
That's a streak.
Oh, baby. Lucky 7.
Got a $1 winner, a $5 winner.
Throwing them.
And that'll keep you playing.
That'll keep you playing right there. 8-27-1. Look at that. September 7th, 96, he fights Michael Goldrush. That's his name, Michael Goldrush.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael Rush.
Yeah.
Gold. 10-2 coming in, 27-7-1 in his career, and he beats the shit out of Exum. So, October 12th, 96, he's in Sao Paulo.
Oh.
He's getting out of the country.
Yeah.
Look at this, down to Brazil.
South America.
He fights Jose Dinamita Gomez.
Okay.
So 22-1 coming in, this guy, and 24-2 career, and he's from down there. So Exum's he's getting brought in to be sacrificed before the home folks, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a unanimous decision loss for Exum. Next, he fights in the Brewery's Thunderdome in Louisville.
Eesh.
Jesus Christ. October 30th, 96. He fights Kurt Allen to a draw. 8-29-2.
Oh, no.
This is goddamn awful. November 14th, 96. In Allentown, he fights Art Bayless, who's a 10-10 fighter.
Yeah.
14-14 for his career. And apparently this fight, it was at the Days Inn in Allentown,
Oh, boy.
Pennsylvania.
Oh, no.
My
That's
God.
just depressing.
That's like the Allentown song level depressing.
Yeah.
That's depressing.
That's no good.
And they're fighting here in Allentown. And the Days Inn isn't set up for that shit. Why are they fucking doing it? Fuck this song. Never mind. And Billy Joel throws his shit away, pushes the piano over. Can't take it anymore. So apparently,
I am going to start the fire if you guys keep fighting.
I will start. This whole town can burn. I don't give a fuck. So This guy, Art, apparently Exum opens up a huge cut on him early.
Oh.
And I mean, they're saying like it was a fucking ref had blood all over him. Everybody had blood all over them. It was a bloodbath. But this guy ended up hanging in there, coming back from an early cut and just fighting a very conservative fight and beating Exum on points.
What?
So he said, everybody said it looked like Exum got excited, like, I'm going to win one. Yeah. And then the guy just locked it down. He just calmed down from the cut, and that was that.
Like a fighter does.
Like a fighter. November 30th, 96, he goes to Austria, and that's because he's fighting Vladimir Klitschko.
Oh, you're going to his turf?
Yeah, who's, probably the best heavyweight of the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Roughly. I mean, I haven't followed heavyweight boxing as closely as I did before that, but he seems to be the best of the last
pretty successful
15 years. Yeah. He is 1-0 coming in. He's a baby.
Beginning.
Baby Klitschko. For his career, he's 64-5, so he's
Is he really?
Bad man, known as Mr. Steelhammer is his nickname. Yeah. Very tough man is what we're talking about here. Very, very tough. He says, they asked Chris about, or Exum about it, and he says, quote, Vladimir was tall, and I was as tall as I don't know what. He says, when I see, he's like 6'6", he's huge. Yeah. He says, when I saw him, I was like, whoa, this is a big guy. That's not how you want to be introduced to your opponent. Holy shit. Who brought Ivan Drago over here? Right. Jesus Christ. He said, this is a big guy. I knew who he was. He had just won the gold medal. On TV, he looked smaller than he did when I saw him. As his fists were pummeling me. A lot different. He said he was kind of stiff, but he hit hard. I worked with Vladimir and some other European fighters after that. I tried to help them bend their knees and be less of a target, not so straight up. When you stand straight up, it's European styles, a little more straight up, you ain't got no rhythm. When you bend your knees, your arms are longer and you move better. Yeah, it's just fighting. The Klitschkos have a different regimen than we do. When we sleep, they're working out. Those guys are in condition. They're fucking machines. Yeah. And this is a second round TKO. I mean, Vladimir. Yeah, this guy, he's a future champion, and Exum is not. Right. This is his 31st loss, so tells you a lot. So next we bring up a guy named Jim Holly, who will be his manager for a little while here. Jim Holly was a fighter as well. His career record was 5-55.
Oh, wow.
Not good. It landed him suspensions in 6 different states based on they won't let him come there and get beat up, basically. Yeah. He's suspended for being a shitty fighter.
He lost 55 of 60 fights. That's not good.
That is terrible. They said you're a danger to yourself in the ring. We're not going to let you die in our ring.
Right.
So, and that doesn't include, basically, because he then becomes a trainer and a manager, and his stable is all tomato cans. It's a tomato can stable. His business is guys who are 5-55 to supply those guys, because that's a business.
Yeah.
If you're a manager and you have 30 of those guys, you can make a pretty goddamn decent living here and there, making $100 here and $100 there off these guys. They're fighting every night basically for you. So he says that he did this for a long time. He ended up being in Ashtabula, Ohio. Here, that's where he was, and that's where he finds Exum Speight. Exum ends up in Ashtabula, and this guy kept trying to fight, which is just hilarious. Put it this way, they said that he never left his house without a scale. If he'd go to the mall, he'd take his scale with him, and if he saw anybody that looked tough, he'd throw him on a scale and ask him if they want to be a boxer. I'm not shitting you.
Just pull it out of his backpack.
He would pull a scale out. How much you weigh?
Yeah.
You want to fight? You know how to fight? You tough? That's what he would ask people. Yeah? Come on. And then he would fucking put him in the ring with Vladimir Klitschko. It's fucking insane.
Yeah.
This is how this business works, man. He said he became known as the, quote, how much you weigh guy. He said if you had 2 arms, 2 legs, and half a brain, he could train you. That's what he would say. He could train you to go out and get your ass kicked. He said, quote, I had just about everyone in this town fighting. You walk down the street today and you'll run into 4 or 5 guys that used to fight for me. They're probably looking for you.
Right.
To
need some money.
Once he even recruited a girl off the side of the road, it says here. He was driving down the highway.
Yeah.
And he noticed what he called a sturdy-looking young woman standing next to a broken down Ford Escort with the hood up.
Yeah.
So he pulled over and didn't say, you need help with his car. He pulled over and said, how much you weigh? You know how to fight?
Maybe you ask, do you know how to fight before you ask a woman how much do you weigh?
How much do you weigh? Do you know how to fight? Yeah. Okay, I won't ask you the second question. How much you imagine you're just okay, ladies.
Yeah.
Men too, because this would be just as ridiculous for men, but ladies especially. Imagine your car broke down on the freeway. You pull over. God damn it. Steam's coming out. The engine's up. You're standing there. You're waiting for AAA or somebody to highway patrol to pass by. And a guy pulls over. And you're like, oh, good. Maybe he knows something about radiators. And he goes, hey, how much you weigh? You know how to fight? Would you be like, what? What do you know about Ford Escorts? Do you know how to fix them?
Those are two questions that Edmund Kemper asked girls too, probably.
Yeah. How much do you weigh?
Hey, Cupcake, how much do you weigh?
You know how to fight?
Get in the back of my coupe.
She answered, quote, hell yeah, I can fight. Which her answer. So that's a tough.
Or that's just a chick with a
that doesn't want to get abducted.
Right.
Bet your ass I can fight, especially when I got this switchblade.
It's a chick that's seen a couple episodes of Dateline.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I can fight. She lowered her voice and shit. You bet your ass I can fight, mister. You bet my dick I can fight. That's what
you bet my balls.
Yeah, you bet my balls on it. So, hell yeah, I can fight. Her name is Greta Daniels, and I ended up finding her, actually. 0-5 career pro record for her, so she did her job.
Yeah.
That's what she was supposed to do.
She can't fight very well, though.
No, she's supposed to go out and get beat up and collect a paycheck and give him some of it. That's how it works.
And then she realized what was happening and left. Because women are smarter than men. She was 0-5, and she's like, I get it. 5 beatings
is enough.
I see this racket. I'm leaving.
Oh, I get beat up every time. Never mind. I thought this was like a thing. So eventually he was managing more than 30 fighters. He had a ring in his yard, but it wasn't a real ring. He used a garage door, plywood, and old carpet for the flooring.
A garage door?
A garage door. And see, like the ring that my stepmother's father had, that was like a real ring with like ropes and turnbuckles and like the things in the pads that go all the way down the corner, and there was like a thing on the mat. It was like really nice. It was cool.
Throws a lift master on some plywood.
He just threw some shit down and was like, fight each other on a garage door.
Wow.
I took it down for you. Don't worry. But try not to like jump up and down. I'm going to put it back when I'm done. So I need a garage
dents
door.
In it.
It's cold in the winter.
And that side over there has the glass.
Wow. Yeah, watch out for that. Nobody go over to the left side of the ring. Garage door, plywood, and old carpet.
What the fuck?
He finished it off with canvas donated to him by the Army surplus store and rope from a feed outlet.
Oh my god!
They're supposed to be cables, not ropes.
This is scary.
Yeah, that's the thing. Most boxing, it's cables. So he said, quote, we trained on that for 7 years. My God.
Oh, my.
In the winters, we'd head down to the Y, because I had to take the garage door down, so needed it for the garage again. Then I had to tear it down when my granddaughter was born, and I put up a swing set instead.
Oh, boy.
There you go. His front porch was like, there was just tons of guys hanging around, just people come over there wanting to box, a bunch of wannabe boxers. He said there's nothing else to do, really. And he was just ready, and he said, quote, I was just trying to get kids off the streets, which that's nice,
noble.
But to have them be beaten up by better fighters for that, they'd earn about $100 a round, $100 a fight, basically, for their shit fights.
Right.
On a casino show, though, you make more money.
Really?
Casinos pay money.
That makes sense.
Casinos pay... They don't pay based on ticket sales. No. They pay you for an event,
right.
And then they give away most of the tickets to people. So it's
we
not.
Just want them here to gamble.
Yeah, you're bringing. That's why comedians do. You wonder why. Why does that great comedian? Why does Jim Gaffigan go around doing casinos? Because they pay him a fucking fortune.
Because he's got a mortgage,
and he doesn't have to worry how many tickets he sells. Right. That's why they fucking do that. Exactly why.
And it'll still sell out.
Why is Kathleen Madigan always at those things? She could sell it anywhere she wants, but she can make twice as much money if she does it over there at that fucking casino. That's why she's doing it.
And it's so much more respectable than a cruise ship.
Exactly. It's exactly right. People can actually get to it if they want to. So if they got a casino, though, they'd see like 2,000 about, basically.
Yeah.
You'd make more money. And then an overseas fight, you'd make like $3,000 win or lose.
Really?
Just to go over there, because they just wanted an American fighter over there. And, to get one, it costs a few bucks. So, sometimes they would be okay. As a matter of fact, the Exum Speight was one of his prize fighters because he won this next fight, which was on the USA Network.
Really?
So, yeah, he actually won a fight that was on, cable television that everybody saw, or you could see if you wanted to.
Right.
It made this guy like, holy shit, look at me, I got fighters. So this was January 17th, 1997 versus Iceman Lyle McDowell, who was 18-3-1 coming in. So he's supposed to win, period. 28-15-1 for his career. But Exum TKO on him. So it's his 9th win. He says, this is how this happened. The question was, in January 1997, you defeated heavyweight Lyle McDowell via second round TKO. Going into the fight, your record was 8-31-2.
So fucking embarrassing.
It's so bad.
Don't repeat that, sir.
Thanks. I didn't hear that part. This was a dramatically different result than you normally produced against an opponent with a respectable record. That is the smoothest way you could put that.
How the fuck did you pull that off?
How'd you beat a guy who wasn't in a wheelchair? What happened? How'd you do it? Because you usually get your ass kicked by anybody on 2 feet. Is why I'm asking it.
How'd you beat an able-bodied man?
Yeah, how'd you do that?
Who actually throws blows?
Somebody were they in the middle of a bout of lupus and you jumped on him and got him good, or how'd it work? He said, did anything change in your preparations for this fight? And Exum said, yes. He said, I was training out there in Ohio in Don King's camp. I had a hard camp and I came in with a more intense attitude. I was in condition, but a lot of it was mental. The fight was in Illinois and it was cold. I had a real good running the night before. I ran up this hill and I was like, I'm going to get this guy. After that, I thought I was moving on up. You have 31 losses. You're not moving on anywhere.
No.
You're going to look bad. In my next fight, which was only 10 days later, I fought Vasily Yurov. That guy was tall and lanky. He was wide on top and small around the waist. We fought at cruiserweight. He was hitting hard. He was counterpunching me and I was counterpunching him, but it was his fucking night. I went down in the first and I got up. The referee looked at me in a certain way and I always hated that. He said, come back and fight another day.
I think it's over, sir.
TKO. This guy Vasily Yurov is a bad motherfucker. Mm-hmm. Nickname's the Tiger. This was at Club Rio in Tempe, actually.
Really?
Yeah, when they were still doing that. 1997 in January. He is from Kazakhstan, actually. So outside of Borat, he's the only other person I've ever heard that's from Kazakhstan. For real. When Borat came out, he was like, I'm going to pummel that Sacha Baron Cohen. I've been the first guy to be like, I'm trying to make Kazakhstan or I'm a champion boxer. All this stuff. And he comes out of my wife and my sister, number 3 prostitute and all of fuck. Everybody comes up to him going, your sister number 3 prostitute. Fuck me.
How much do you hate the horns on the Jew and all that stuff?
I follow the hawk.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. They go, what are you, Muslim? And he goes, I follow the hawk. They're like, okay. That's the most brilliant way to do that, by the way. Don't say you're a religion. Say, I follow the hawk.
Anything.
They go, what the fuck is that?
What does that thing do?
That's some weird cave religion. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And they don't ask any follow-up questions.
Make a claw with your hand.
The hawk. They don't want to hear about that. Tell me all about it. No one's going to say that. And if it wasn't, you could really have some fun with him. So Yurov is 1-0 coming in, 38-3-1 for his career. Bad motherfucker. And he kicks the shit out of old Exum in one round. 9-32-2 for Exum. Jesus Christ, man.
I can't believe there's more.
There's more. 97, March 21st, Ryan Paletti. He comes in 13-0. 21-1 for his career, and Paletti said this guy is an experienced fighter. About Exum, he's going to come in. This guy's more relaxed, but he seems to take the punches well. So in other words, he'll let you hit him, but he seems to be able to take it. I'm going to have to use my experience and not punch myself out, saving it for the right moment. Hopefully everything's going to be all right. And for him, it was fine.
Yeah.
He beat Exum pretty handily here in a unanimous decision loss for Exum. In 1997, in April, he fights Gerald the Jedi Nobles. No. He's 10-0 coming in, though.
I'm sure.
26-1 for his career.
Oh.
I guess you can kind of call yourself whatever you want when you're 26-1.
Yeah.
Because if someone doesn't like it, you could whoop their ass.
But Star Trek,
Star
Wars references for...
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
No. TKO loss for Exum. He obviously he puts the Jedi mind trick and body trick on Exum and fucking downs him. June 27th, 1997, Jeff Lampkin he fights.
Yeah.
This is Lampkin's last fight.
Oh.
He's 38-19-1 coming in. This is his last fight, and he goes out by TKOing Exum. That's fucking unreal.
I've done enough.
I've in a retirement fight, so that's nice. You made him feel good as he went into the sunset. Exum. He fights December 6th, 97. Marcus Johnson, 3-0 coming in, loses to him by decision too.
Yeah.
June 2nd, 99. He fights Nate Miller, whose nickname is Mr. Miller.
Oh, boy.
Which isn't a nickname, because that's your fucking name anyway.
Who you are.
If you check into a hotel, they go, Mr. Miller. You don't say, how'd you know my nickname?
No. He goes, oh, you've heard of me.
Yes, I am. It's on your license. He's 30-7 coming into this fight, and he beats Exum.
Mm-hmm.
So Exum is 9-37-2.
It's over, man.
Next fight, August 28th, 99, he fights Kim Weber. Gave up on men now. He's just letting women kick his ass now. That's a guy, his name's like Joaquim or something. He goes by Kim. Kim Weber, 26-1 coming in too, so fucking badass fighter. It's all just based on people calling him Kim growing up and making fun of him.
He's
Who
done.
the fuck's got a girl's name now? As he pummels you, beats your ass. You're like, dude, it's cool. I like your name. I think it's kind of cool, man.
I think it's hip.
Stop hitting me. Shit. 26-1, 28-2 for his career. He knocks Exum out. So you see what I mean? Only really good fighters knock him out. Most of the time he can hang in there for unanimous decision loss. So he fights them. He has a 2-year layoff after this.
I would too.
He is 9-38-2.
Oh, God, Jesus.
And he's like, I need to take some time off.
Yeah.
That's what I need. I need to
recuperate.
Take 2 years. So he takes 2 years off. Do you think this is going to go well?
No.
Coming back older? He fights June. This is his last fight, I promise. June 14th, 2001. Cold Steel Chris Thomas, who's 8-2 coming in and finishes his career 17-19-2. So not exactly setting the world on fire, but he does knock out or TKO Exum. So Exum's final record, 9 wins, 39 losses, and 2 draws. So
he could have been 10-40.
You know what I mean? Jesus Christ. So
this is so depressing.
This is when he retires now.
I would too.
This is as great a question as that last one was. This is possibly the dumbest question ever because it's the most obvious. After that fight, you retired with a record of 9-39-2. What finally led to your retirement? Gee, I don't know.
I mean, I think the question
Why didn't you just keep doing it?
Very well phrased.
You could have done it.
Finally was the point? What did it for you?
The word finally is important in this.
You exhausted it. What did it?
Yeah, it finally happened.
It was over a long time before. What finally convinced you?
Well, let's let him answer.
All
what do you think here? Let's see what he says. He says, quote, as I got older, the punches got harder. Yeah, it wasn't a decision I made. It just kind of went there. A lot of times I still think about fighting. I start training. I start making plans. I feel good. This is well after. This is 10 years from now. Not smart. I'm competent and aware of what's going on. Sometimes, though, I have headaches and my hand hurts from blocking punches. I've seen my doctor lately and he said I'm fine. I'm doing all right. It's just that I don't know what to do sometimes. I go for a lot of walks. A couple weeks ago, I was down at Manny Pacquiao's gym watching them train, and I just left. I miss fighting. When I was a pro, people knew me around the world because they saw me on TV. I was a fighter. People came to see a fight, and that's what I did. I'm just a country boy, and they tried to take advantage of. Nobody cared what happened. People are mistreated in boxing. I've been behind closed doors. They didn't think I knew what they were doing, but I did. But with everything that happened, I'm still happy. I'm still content. Maybe it's because of the time that that mule kicked me. He goes back to the fucking mule. Makes me happy no matter what. Yeah. He said, when it's daytime, it's daytime. When it's night, it's night. God made me, so there must be something about me that's just like him. Even though I'm in the flesh, there's a spirit about me and everyone else. We're all the same. We just look different. So maybe he has been hit in the head a couple times.
But he knows where he is.
He knows where he is. He's just not sure why he's there.
The other day I went down to Manny Pacquiao's gym, and they asked me, would you like fries with that?
Yeah, and I was like,
wait a minute, what?
I have to go now, and I just left, and I didn't get fries or watch a fight. So I don't know what happened. So 2005, I found an arrest.
Yeah.
2005, he is arrested in Ashtabula County, Ohio, for domestic violence. It's apparently 2 counts of domestic violence from there. So that is September 3rd, 2005. That happened. So I know that there he was living in Geneva, Ohio at the time in an apartment 104A.
Yeesh.
So things aren't going terrific for you there. In a place like Ashtabula, I assume that's not a big rental market. I don't know. So 2010, something starts happening here. Remember Douglas Stumler?
Right.
The dead man? Well, 2010 cold case units, DNA technology really advanced a lot to the point where they, started being able to process a lot of it, and they started pulling cold cases and processing DNA, and this was kind of the beginning of all of that. Well, Stumler was on that list because when he was found, he's covered in blood, and not all of it was his. So there was DNA. There's other blood from another person, but it's back then they just got a type. And if it was, type A, well, how much of the population's type A?
Unless it's type O, it doesn't really narrow it down.
If it's A positive, it's like, okay, well, you and everybody else. So it could be just about anybody. But DNA is a little bit different. So for this deal, they end up start processing DNA. They're trying to look into this case. It's been 23 years, obviously, but they're looking into it. Also, this year, Exum apparently gets arrested for an open container on the beach.
God damn it.
So
Exum.
something stupid he gets, and then I think he gets a ticket, and then he has a failure to appear in court for that as well, which will come up later. Very, very important. At this point, he starts working as a security guard for a medical marijuana clinic in Venice Beach.
Smart.
So this is a good deal. And I actually found a guy posted in I think it was a Reddit thread or something back then about meeting him that day at the club, which is funny. It says, quote, "Yesterday at a cannabis club in Venice Beach, California, I met Exum Speight. Pro boxer fought Vlad Klitschko, who happens to be a security guard at the dispensary. He gets high all day and rambles about Jesus and love and other incoherent things.
Yeah.
It's probably a combination of getting hit in the head a lot. He claims to have had a 24-year career. True.
Yeah.
We know that. And all the drug use, but he's pretty out there. I wonder if this is all that common or if anyone else has similar stories." So
Also, I stole weed. He tried to stop me. I knocked him out.
So there was that. He lost. Well, actually, we fought, but everyone around said I won. That's how it worked. I don't know. It was a unanimous decision.
The owner said I earned the weed.
That's how it worked. I don't know. So this Dovid Linder talks about how he got the interview with Exum Speight, which is really interesting how he found him. He went into an In-N-Out Burger in May 2012 in Hollywood, California.
Yeah.
And he said the place was packed. There was only 3 seats available. Walked over to the empty seats. He sat down next to a guy who was black guy, late 40s, who was sitting at a table. And he sat across from him, and they started chatting. Turns out he's Exum Speight,
Unbelievable.
and this guy's a boxing writer.
Wild.
So just a weird coincidence. He said that's wild. He said that he was worried when he sat down to interview him that he looked at his record and was like, holy shit, this guy's not going to be able to tell a story. He's going to be fucking mashed potato brain.
Yeah.
This isn't going to happen. And but he said, quote, "However, Speight is exceptionally clear and articulate, remembers almost every detail of every fight he's been in, the year it happened, the venue, the advice his corner gave him, etc." Apparently he's really sharp with a lot of things. Said over the past year and a half, he received a number of texts and voicemails from Speight saying, quote, "God is still in charge." That's just his way of saying hi. Even though Speight had a rough life in and out of the ring, he never expressed anything but gratitude. He's a very spiritual person, and he said something in our interview that stuck with me. That was the "God made me, so there must be something. We're all the same. We just look different." That quote there. So September 2013. It's 10:45 a.m.
Yep.
Knock at the door, and there's some police officers there. And they ask for Exum. His girlfriend answers the door. They ask for Exum. He comes down. They cuff him.
Oh, boy.
Not only do they cuff him, they apparently give him a little swabby swab on the inside of the mouth there. And he says, "What the hell's going on? What's happening?" The detective said they've been watching him. This is Detective Jackson, and he said that he hasn't really held a steady job. He's doing security work, stuff like that. And they processed a bunch of shit, and the cold case detectives reviewed the case and screened the evidence for forensic leads under a grant the unit received from the National Institute of Justice's Solving Cold Cases with DNA program. So this shit actually works if you fund this type of thing. It said DNA evidence played a key factor in getting the case solved because after 2 years they get a hit. It is from Exum Speight. That is the other DNA on the scene of Stumler.
Mm-hmm.
So they track down witnesses, once that is, some located out of state, begin piecing a case together based on, obviously, the DNA is number one. They need to, witnesses to make a picture in a scene, too. And they do. The detectives end up arresting him. And that's that. He's arrested for murder.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The detective here, it's Detective Rick Jackson of LAPD's Cold Case Homicide Unit. He says with some cases, after you get through the DNA, there are other hurdles. But with this one, it worked out, and it was enough where it was found and the other circumstances. Where it was found and the other, that doesn't make any sense. He said Exum's name came up. He was looked at back then and focused on as a potential suspect, but they didn't have the forensics we have now. Plus, they ruled him out because he passed polygraph tests here. So they said that he said it was gratifying to tell their family that they finally arrested somebody. That's a good deal. So obviously, the question is, what's up with the lie detector tests then? Yeah. How do you pass them? Well, basically, it's all about the person doing it. Yeah. Number one, that's the thing.
The person taking it or the person giving it?
The first person giving it and the person taking it.
How they interpret it?
The person giving it, how they make that person feel, the person they're giving it to. Are they frightening them with questions? Are they aggressive? How is their way of manner? Then how they read it as well. Right. How they apply everything, how they put the shit on your body. Everything matters for this.
That chick in Denver that did the Chris Watts one was super confident.
Oh, she was a badass. Yeah, she was like,
her.
That's what I mean. I don't know if these guys were as good.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Daniel Ribicoff who's a polygraph examiner at In-Depth Polygraphs in New York, and he has a show called The Lie Detective in the UK.
Okay.
And he says basically it's not the machines. The machines are going to pick up what they pick up.
Right.
He said the skill of the polygraph examiner is everything. Being a polygraph examiner is not like being a sonogram technician where you could just use the tool and make the image. You have to be able to administer the test, conduct the interviews well, formulate questions correctly, and accurately interpret the chart.
Right.
These are all true.
Sure.
If they had somebody who wasn't great at that, who knows? So there's this is really fucking weird. I found this article on a new kind of lie detector test they're trying to come up with.
What is it?
It is fucking creepy. It's people at the University of Arizona.
Oh, boy.
They're calling it Automated Virtual Agent for Truth Assessments in Real Time. Okay? Avatar.
It's called a lie detector.
Yes. That's they call it a kiosk with a monitor displaying a computerized face, which uses AI to engage human beings in a question and answer session to gauge the veracity of their statements and intentions, but without needing to hook up anyone to the type of psychological sensors required by a polygraph. They said, quote, just as you go into a store and you might use a kiosk to check out, or you go to the airport and use a kiosk to check into your flight, we envision this system to be the equivalent of that, but for security or for screening. So basically, they're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and based on your eye reactions...
I don't like that at all.
No, not at all. He said, so if it's border patrol or border control, they might ask you about your travel plans, your flight, visa status, or anything related to the customs and issues that might be important for the airport. And from the passenger's perspective, it's just like any other interaction, except that you're speaking with a computer. You finish the conversation, answer the questions, and move along. Or wait to see if the computer tells you you're a liar.
Right.
And they come pull you in a fucking room or something.
Calm down, wildcats.
It measures and analyzes things like a person's voice, pupil dilation, and facial and body movements. And it sends the information to a human officer who can ask follow-up questions about the responses where the machine may have found issues. So that's how that works. I don't like this at all. This sounds fucking terrible, doesn't it?
That's going to put some people in prison that didn't do it.
This is really creepy. Yeah.
Sometimes my eyes bounce back and forth. Like I'll be staring at you, and then I can feel them just moving.
Well, you never, if you're tired, if you're sleeping weird, who the hell knows?
But that's not even just tired or sleeping weird. That's just how my eyes are.
That's the other thing.
Don't put me in prison for that.
You never know. That seems crazy. So, I mean, he's fucked at this point.
Yeah.
He's sitting in jail. He needs he needs help. He needs somebody to help him. This is the type of guy who's never had anybody important help him.
No.
You know what I mean? His whole career has been a bunch of these schlubs making $50 off of him, taking his cut of the prize.
Like a whore.
Treating him like a whore, as he put it. And so finally now he's sitting in jail waiting, and somebody comes to visit him that could change it all for him. And it's Vince McMahon, the chairman and CEO of WWE. And he says... How is it you've come to arrive here, you beautiful bastard?
The most whore treating some bitch.
Oh, you have no idea. You have no idea what we could do. Oh, you don't even know, buddy. Let me tell you what your quality is that I admire.
Yeah.
Okay? First of all, you're a big bastard. Right away, you're vascular. I like that.
It's huge.
I like that about you. Okay, number one. But number two, and this is the main thing, you lose. You're willing to lose. Yeah. People don't want to lose anymore. You're on your back 4 or 5 times a week. You don't care. You don't care. You'll lose. Yeah. You come in and you lose and you strangle and you lie.
You're a real killer.
You're exactly what I've been looking for. As a matter of fact, I don't even want you in the ring.
Yeah.
Will you work for me? Be my right-hand man. I'm going to push my daughter out of the way, and you're going to run my company. I feel like a murdering... person with brain damage who's willing to lose is the only person that can run this company. Come with me. I'm going to get you out of here. Poof. And a poof of 1099s. He's gone. And Exum's excited. He's like, he's going to get me out of jail.
1099s and other people's sweat.
Other people's sweat. Cuts of other people's fucking... cuts of other people's purse money flying everywhere. So he's in jail.
Yep.
And... while he's in there, his family, as we'll talk about it, really goes off on trying to get him out of there.
Really?
And saying this is a giant conspiracy.
You guys, there's DNA.
This is the problem. It's kind of just DNA. And it's not like... Okay, the DNA, too, thing, it's not like this happened last year, and then a year later they caught him, and the same detective worked on it the whole time, and he had a real thing for Exum, and he knew it was him, and he wanted to get him. This was 25 years later. Nobody that was a cop then is still a cop now.
No.
Maybe a guy was a rookie patrolman, but no homicide detective who was working the Stumler case is still employed 25 years later with the police department, probably, but has like this... vendetta where he's like
their pension and get the fuck out.
I've been waiting for DNA so I can get this guy. Like, that's not a thing.
Right.
They're not trying to there's no pressure to solve this case.
No.
It's not like this is
this isn't the Black Dahlia.
That's what I mean. There's no pressure. It's not a political thing.
Yeah.
It's some schlub guy, according to the government, obviously. He's a victim of murder. That's terrible. But
it's just a Hoosiers fan.
Some schlub in an apartment on La Cienega Boulevard got fucking killed. Who cares? That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's how they're looking at it. But July of 2015, Exum cuts a deal.
Really?
Because it's a 25, 26-year-old case, they're not looking to, prosecute this to the end of the earth.
This isn't a death penalty case.
No, these are plea bargain cases they want. They don't want these going to trial. So they end up plea bargaining, and he gets a decent plea bargain here.
Second degree?
No.
Manslaughter.
Voluntary manslaughter.
Wow.
Which is very light considering the crime.
Yeah.
That's like... if that happened, he would have got life without if they caught him the year after with that kind of crime scene. Holy shit, it was brutal, man. So this is wild. But this much longer, just trying to make a deal and get out of it, they make him a deal.
Wow.
And sentencing comes around, and shit, you, sir, may fuck off 11 years.
Wow.
With parole, that's pretty light. It's not bad for a fucking brutal murder.
Yeah.
That's pretty, wow. Talk about making out.
Yeah, I know people that deserve it.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd gladly do 11 for some people that deserve it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like 5.5
Yeah.
good. What the hell? Why not?
That's awesome.
Rock it out.
Good for him.
That's crazy, man.
Jesus Christ.
How crazy is that?
That's not justice, but
no,
good for
not
him.
at all. Murder, but I mean, if you're trying to get a deal, wow.
Vladimir Klitschko's been in the ring with a lot of killers, and this one is a legit one.
He's a legit killer, absolutely.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, he's there. I mean, yeah, the guy he killed is he was just a nice guy trying to manage a boxer and watch an Indiana game.
Yeah.
So, and I always and I don't know why it is, but like, unless it's like a kid or something like that, but I always not feel bad, but there's always something in the back of my mind when somebody gets away with something for like 40 years and then they bust them. Obviously not if it's like a murder of another guy. It's a different thing, especially like they were friends. They lived. I don't feel the same.
We weren't there.
It's different. Sorry, it is.
Yeah.
If you, as a man, if you fucking like butcher a woman or something, it's different than if you beat the shit out of your ex-manager.
Yeah.
To me, there's everything. Obviously, it's all terrible and no one's less of a victim than anyone else, but there's a triage of it for me. And
I don't know what happened between them.
People who kill kids are at the top of that triage of people I want to fucking rip their balls off of. And then you have people who kill women. And then somewhere down the line is people who kill dudes they were sort of in business with and, were roommates of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just one of those things. So you still feel bad, though, but not nearly as bad.
Get out of here.
As I feel.
How many?
For Exum Speight, who was 69 years old in Hampton, Virginia, before he passed away in 2015 here, which he did, this guy here, Exum Buddy, a.k.a. Bro. So he was either Buddy or Bro, apparently you could call him.
Maybe he died when he found out he was going to prison.
Maybe. Well, he died at home surrounded by his loved ones. I'm pretty sure he's a relative of Exum Speight because Edward, his first name it's Edward Exum, but he goes by Exum Buddy or Bro. Edward was born in 1945 in Whitakers, North Carolina.
Get out.
So I assume that any of the Speight's from Whitakers, North Carolina are probably these people.
They got to be related.
Considering they had 17 kids, so I bet a lot of their family had a lot more kids.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them. He graduated from Huntington High School in 1963, which was when our Exum Speight was born. And, spent 3 years in the U.S. Army. He got married. He retired from the Newport News shipyard after 36 years as an electrician. Wow. He enjoyed cutting grass, reading the newspaper, and the Auto Trader, and spending time with his grandchildren.
What a day.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Doesn't it sound nice?
I want a day where the only thing I have to do is cut the grass
and read the Auto Trader. That sounds wonderful.
That sounds amazing.
You're officially 75 years old.
Look what they want for this
He's
thing.
like, oh boy, I got a glass of lemonade in there. That's really something. Now I'm cooking.
This one's a bit overpriced.
Oh boy, get me a box of Wheat Thins. It's going to be a hell of a day.
Oh, this guy knows what he has.
So he's sitting in jail. Yeah. As we'll talk about, his family going crazy. There's petitions to Barack Obama from back then and everything else. It's wild. But on March 7th, 2016, Exum dies of a stroke in jail.
Get out!
Dies of a stroke in jail.
Unbelievable.
So he's in there for, Christ, he pleaded guilty.
3 weeks.
Pleaded guilty less than a year before that.
Yeah.
He was arrested in 2013.
Right.
But still, he's, 3 years and he's done. That's it.
They gave him the lightest sentence ever.
He got 3 years for murder, basically. He got out his own way.
Couldn't even serve it.
Nope. Now we get into the conspiracy part of this, where his family says this is a huge conspiracy.
Oh, boy.
First of all, I have to tell you, okay, now I'm up for a fun conspiracy as much as the next guy.
Propose it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about political conspiracies because there's way too much like money interest as far as like.
That can be clouded one way or the other.
It's so deep.
So easy.
It's so deep seated when you read what the CIA would do to put different. This is not a political thing.
And your average asshole has no fucking clue. Stop with those.
You don't know what you're talking about.
You're not informed.
No.
You don't know the ins and outs of everything.
You reading it on Reddit doesn't mean that it's real. So anyway.
The pizza place doesn't even have a fucking basement.
Exactly. That's the point.
Right.
But if you get like a conspiracy theory that really doesn't matter to the world as far as like something silly, I will go to the ends of the earth to inspect it.
I'm listening.
And then it's fun.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now about how they think that Charles Manson was a fucking FBI informant because he got arrested like 10 times while on federal probation and never got held for a parole violation like the month before the murders.
Or the system's fucked.
He got caught naked in bed with a 17-year-old girl with 5 joints on the dresser next to him. They released him and charged her with possession of marijuana.
Oh my God.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Tate should be alive.
When they raided the ranch, he had 4 stolen credit cards in his shirt pocket. They let him go. They released him. They said it was a misdated warrant. It's not a misdated warrant. They have the warrants, the right date. It's ridiculous. So there's a whole conspiracy on that, and I'm willing to go to a 14-hour audiobook
and
listen to this shit. And Who cares if it matters or not? It distracts me from this, so I need to hear it. What I'm saying is, if something's interesting, I'll play with it for a while. If it sounds plausible, fine. If not, fuck it.
Yeah.
This does not sound plausible. Let's just say that. Now, here is a letter to BarackObama.com. This is from, and it says, Mr. President, ex-pro boxer Exum Speight is dead. Okay. It says, now there's a lot of, as I'm going to show you this, there's a lot of,
God, it's so much.
Half caps and half not caps.
Oh,
and
boy, it looks like a tweet.
It's really wild. Okay. So, Mr. President, Exum Speight died on March 7th, 2016, after waiting 2 years for the White House to take action.
Okay.
Your fault.
Yeah.
Blaming it on him.
There's blood on your hands.
Been waiting for you, asshole. I called. I left a text. What the fuck, dude? What do I have to do? He was an innocent black Indian disabled ex-pro boxer that was set up by the LAPD/FBI cold case detectives to obtain grant money and cover their own crimes. We have proof. We sent it to Chief Charlie Beck 1 week before Exum was dead. They allowed him to sit in jail for over 2 years when his brain was sitting in a pool of blood. 3 exclamation points. This is a racist hate crime, and we have asked for a federal investigation. A task force and other innocent black men have shared their stories with me about the same dirty detectives and their direct connection to the Biggie Smalls, Tupac Shakur, O.J. Simpson, Michael Jackson, Charles Manson, Lonnie Franklin Jr., Robert Blake, Samuel Little, and Miura murders. Detectives planted DNA evidence against all of these men and need the White House's help ASAP, as we have been threatened, terrorized, cyberstalked, cyber-terrorized, followed, stalked. He said stalked twice, I think. And our investigators have been beaten. Their car exploded and have been falsely imprisoned. Ex-LAPD officer Russell Poole, which I know that name. I know that detective. I don't know him personally, but know of him. Dropped dead of a supposed heart attack while proving this case to the sheriff's office in Los Angeles.
Wow. Or all of this shit drove him mad and his heart couldn't take it.
Or 55-year-old overweight guys have heart attacks a lot. What's a common cause of death for an ex-cop? Probably heart attack, I would assume. So, yeah. Stress, eating like shit for years, it happens.
They think that the Grim Sleeper had evidence planted?
Oh, you have no idea. The East Area Rapist is in this. You want to know who the real... You want to know who the real Golden State Killer is?
I'd like to
You
know.
want to know who the real East Area Rapist
I'd like
is?
to know.
Well, they're going to tell you.
They know?
Oh, they know. You will be so surprised when you hear. You're going to be, because you know who it is. You know the guy.
Regis Philbin? He did it?
Kurt Russell. Weird, right? So, okay, now, I'm going to read this quickly. So catch up, because this is like 4 pages of insanity.
Great.
And I'm going to bust through it. This is as written as, quote, deposition. It says, wow, this is long. Okay. I'm going to skip some parts of it too, because there's some
deposition.
Dude, it's like 8 pages of shit.
My God.
It's crazy. Deposition regarding LAX Airport Superior Court case, because it was at that court. Case number blah, blah, blah. City of Los Angeles, California versus Exum Speight.
Okay.
Here we go. On September 25th, 2013, several men with LAPD badges around their necks came to Exum's guest house in San Fernando, California. They were wearing jeans, tennis shoes, and T-shirts, asking if Mr. Exum could come to the door, saying they were police officers. Exum Speight went outside with the 5 to 7 officers and was immediately handcuffed. The lead officer asked Bree Speight, Exum's common-law wife, if he had any shoes, as they had just awoken, so she handed him Exum's boxing boots. Why would she do that, considering he hasn't been in the ring in fucking 12 years?
Here, put these on.
Why would they be sitting by the door? He hasn't been in the ring in 12 years. Why would that be the most accessible pair of shoes?
It's pretty awesome.
He'd be in a fucking closet in the third bedroom. So, right there. Anyway.
Put these Wilsons on.
Here. Everlasts, actually.
Are they?
Yep.
All right.
They immediately took the shoelaces out of the boots and the laces from his sweatshirt hoodie, which made her very suspicious. Well, that's what they do when you're going to jail. She asked the officers if they had a warrant for Exum's arrest, and the lead LAPD officer told LAPD officer M. Mejia to get the papers from the patrol car. Exum said, yeah. Where is the warrant for my arrest? The lead cop then handed Bree 3 typed pages stating that Exum had a failure to appear charge from a 2010 open container charge issued on Venice Beach.
Yep.
There. Let's see. She says Exum was a ex-pro boxer and never drank. Yeah, not boxers never drink. Exum asked the lead officer why the judge would send them out for a misdemeanor charge. They told him after 2 requests from the DA, the judge released an arrest warrant. Bree asked the officer where they were taking Exum and what was going to happen to him. He said the judge of Van Nuys would allow her to pay his fines and he could be released in a matter of hours, to call the police station in Van Nuys, and then he would be there until he was transferred to Twin Towers Jail. They never read Exum his rights, which they will later on when they process him. They never told him either party. They never told either party he was under arrest for murder. They left without incident, never producing a warrant for his arrest. Bree was evicted from their guest house, which they rented together the next day, after Detective Rick Jackson of the LAPD told the landlord, Sue, at the address there, they told that they would throw Bree out if they would throw Bree out if she needed them to. Sue told Bree that she had 30 days to move, then showed the unit to 2 black men as potential renters. Bree and her investigators saw the 2 black men and can identify them. We believe they were undercover officers looking for evidence to use against Exum, as a kitchen knife was missing when she returned. Like, he'd have the same knife 26 years fucking later, and I bet this is the same one.
What sick bastard keeps a trophy for 26 years?
In his carving board thing. Fucking Sue that's the landlord, told Bree that if she knew an LAPD cop that would come to visit and do a background check on Exum a few days before they showed up, and she was offered a new money-making opportunity. I don't know what any of that means. Some of this is going to get real weird. Yeah. A few weeks prior to his arrest and a few days after Sue told Bree about her ex-cop friend, she saw Detective Rick Jackson, who remembers the arresting officer, from the LAPD-FBI, and Mark Furman from the O.J. Simpson case, questioning Exum near their home outside their unmarked police car.
In 2013.
Mark Furman is there.
All right.
Who retired and then had a TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he was doing, but I don't think the LAPD was inviting him into the circle to do work, because pretty much anything he touches
is gone to shit.
Is now
it's all
covered in shit, even if he does a great job. You know what I mean? Still covered in shit, because he is a shit man.
Right.
That's what it is. When you are a shitty human like that, who can't be trusted because you're a scumbag and have so much hate in your heart, then you know what? That's what happens. You fucking douchebag. Fucking Mark Furman.
Guy's a scum.
He's a scumbag. Yeah. But it's one of those things where it's like, yes, I don't believe that. I think he did something with OJ. He did something, and OJ killed his wife. Just like Stephen Avery, the cops did plant evidence, and he killed that woman. Both of the things it's possible for all of those things to be true. That's what I'm getting at. So anyway, there was local San Fernando police unit sitting on the corner watching, so Bree was very suspicious. She didn't know anything about the 1987 cold case murder they were questioning him about at that time. When they left, she asked Exum why they were there, and he said, "Oh, it's nothing. Someone I knew a long time ago was murdered, but now they have my spit, so they'll know I didn't do it. Everything is going to be okay, don't worry." I guess they DNA'd him and said, well, whatever. So she wondered why he would submit to a DNA test without a warrant if he was guilty. She's like, why would he do that? Okay, because they asked for one. She asked Exum if they showed him a warrant to take his DNA. He said, what DNA? They just put a Q-tip in my mouth to get some spit. She explained that they tricked him, that they took a sample of his DNA without a warrant. This guy went to a technical college.
Yeah.
This guy went to the Institute of Technology in Rochester. I don't think he's that stupid.
No.
I just don't. I think he knows that much technology.
Or he's like, I didn't spit on him, I'm fine.
She then asked if he understood what they were going to do with his spit, and he said, yes, they're going to prove him innocent. That's what they said. She felt as if he knew that they were going to found innocent, that if he were guilty, he would never have given them a sample without a warrant. Yeah, people have never done dumb shit.
Yeah.
They never go, sure, search my car when they have a fucking dead woman in the trunk.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. He also said Detective Rick Jackson also asked him who Bree was, and he said, my girlfriend. Detective Jackson asked her last name. When he couldn't remember how to spell her last name, Detective Jackson told Exum to get Bree's fingerprints, which she thought was odd since she had no wants or warrants and had only known Exum for a few months. They called her common law wife a minute ago.
All right.
Or 3 paragraphs ago.
Which is it?
Yeah. Use his last name, their common law wife. Now she can't spell her name and she's only known him for 3 months. Fuck is going on? She didn't give it another thought. Mark Furman, they talk about here.
You do.
Wow.
Shit, man.
Shitman himself. Until the day after the arrest, when she opened her computer to find the county clerk's phone number to go bail Exum out, she burst into tears when she saw the national news page. Ex-pro boxer arrested for 1987 cold case murder of former manager Douglas Stumler. LAPD squad Tim Marcia lied under oath in court, giving testimony that he was with Detective Rick Jackson when they took Exum's DNA illegally. It was not Tim Marcia. It was Mark Furman. Bree recognized him from the O.J. Simpson case and took photos of them pushing Exum into their squad car and forcing a Q-tip into his mouth after they forced his arm into a locked position outside the home to scrape his skin for DNA samples, which they don't do. It's just a swab. That's all you need. You don't need a swab and some skin. That's not how DNA works.
Well, they want to make sure that his DNA was under his fingernails.
Pull a pube from him, too, and see if we need that. They just want DNA.
Trying to see if Stumler's DNA is under his nails still.
Yeah, it could be. It's there. It's on his skin. Right. They got to test it. So she said from a distance, from across the thing, not right in front of her. Right. He didn't give him a business card. Hi, I'm Mark Furman. She saw a guy over there and knew it was Mark Furman from the OJ case. Okay. The national news showed Exum's mugshot that he'd been arrested for murder, blah, blah, blah. Here, they showed what appeared to be a 2-year-old mugshot of Exum on the national news. When he may have accepted a charge for the medical marijuana doctors on Venice Beach, a charge that was recently shown on Fox 11 News to be a setup by the LAPD officers. The photo was not of Exum Speight, but an imposter who used to be an LAPD cop.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
It's too deep already.
His name will be released at the upcoming press conference and is associated with the Biggie Smalls murder. Bree immediately called the sheriff and LAPD to find out that he was in a holding tank downtown and that they had no information to his condition or whereabouts. She called for 5 days. Every day they told her it would take more time to find him. To call back the next day and that his bail would be $1,020,000. That's murder.
Yeah.
That the failure to appear charges had been dismissed and that he was being charged with murder. She called 3 times a day and checked in online for the next 5 days and found nothing until she saw he'd be in court for an arraignment. Let's see here. Bree was contacted shortly after that by Sharon Choi, a.k.a. Shay Quegan on Twitter. Who said she was Exum's girlfriend, that he was a pathological liar, a cheater, mental and an abuser, and that she lived with him for several years, and that he, quote, had many whores he slept with every time they broke up, that Bree was just another whore, and that he tricked her into believing that he was in love with her. She said she was trying to be his friend and get him an attorney, and that she was asking for donations of $1,000 from all of Exum's family members to help pay $15,000 retainer to an attorney who worked for Hustler magazine.
Oh, my God. Is Shay Queedle, is that Mark Furman's burner account on Twitter?
I think it's got to be. Yeah, I think it's... After listening to all her lies and slander, Bree phoned Exum's brother to see what the family wanted to do to help Exum get bailed out of jail. She often called the LAPD bail commissioner and left her phone number, but they never returned her call. Let's see here. Let's get to some crazy stuff. Jesus Christ.
This isn't the crazy?
It gets crazier. She asked him, okay, here we go. Bree called Samuel Leonard, public defender, and left her name and phone number, asking him to give her phone number to Exum in court the next day, which he did. Exum called Bree collect and told her that something bad had happened to him. He sounded scared and afraid to tell her who hurt him. He said he found himself under a stairwell and that other inmates and a guard had to carry him to his bunk, that he laid there for a very long time unconscious and beaten worse than any professional fight. She asked him where he was hurt, and he said, I hurt all over, my ribs, my hands, my wrists, my head, my legs. She asked him if he had been beaten, and he said yes. She asked who did it, the inmates or the guards, and he slowly whispered both. So Bree connected the LAPD business card they left with her that day of the arrest to Officer Mejia from the LAPD boxing team. She also found out that felony fights and versus cons.com, it's like a license plate. I can't get it. Is an underground and illegal boxing gym connected to Twin Towers jail, ran by attorney Richard Pintal, who asked her for a $150,000 fee. Exum said that the jail guards invited him downstairs to their boxing gym, but he said no. Bree told Exum she would handle it, and they prayed together for his safety. So she's saying that they dragged him down to be beaten in their private underground fight club that they have.
On cons versus cons.
But they have a website for, but it's private. Okay. Bail reduction, none of that matters. Nothing was done. Exum asked Bree not to get him in trouble, that he was afraid of the guards. Public defender Samuel Leonard called for 4 days, saying Bree shouldn't have called the bail commissioner, that he was the one to request a bail reduction, but that we probably wouldn't get one. He never called back, blah, 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 blah. He later remembered that someone hit him on the back of the head inside a squad car after Mejia had gotten out of the car. He said he didn't remember anything after that until he woke up under a stairwell, beaten so badly he couldn't speak clearly, walk, or see without his glasses. Family and Bree watched him walk into a wall in the courtroom because he couldn't see. Doctors later said he had broken bones and ribs and paralysis. Exum passed a lie detector test in 1987 and has 2 witnesses to his alibi. He told Bree their names and asked her to find one of them to have them call his attorney. She did a search on both of them, and both men have died. Exum also told Bree they pulled him in for questioning in the 1990s in Brazil, but did release him. Bree was suspicious of the LAPD, FBI, and the validity of the charges. She then started doing searches on the computer to find any photos of the deceased Douglas Stumler. She and her investigator couldn't find a grave marker, a funeral, an obituary, cremation letters, a notification in the LAPD murder book, or anything to prove that he was, in fact, murdered. I do have a picture of his gravestone, by the way.
She didn't dig hard
They
enough.
buried something there. I don't know. Bree got more suspicious when others on the internet were making fun of the FBI, saying they don't even check their facts before they release a story. They saw Douglas Stumler's photo online before, and it was really a photo of Bill Gates. They were commenting that the college listed in the report that Douglas Stumler attended didn't even exist, and that it was yet another cover-up. Bree pulled the death certificate information online to see that it was listed at March 31st, 1987, yet the press said he was murdered on March 29th. Bree printed out the proof to give to Mr. Leonard and the absent DA as one had not yet been assigned. Mr. Leonard put the evidence in his pocket before the court and never presented it to Judge James Dabney. When Judge Dabney asked Mr. Leonard if there were any discovery in the case, he said no, and Judge Dabney transferred the case to Judge Mark Wyndham, and Alan Gefald was contacted to help assist his friend. Yes, they found him on the 31st.
Yeah.
They think he was there for 2 fucking days. They think he was murdered on the 29th. That's why that is. That's why those 2 things are like that, you fucking dipshit. So, Exum phoned Bree at 10/22/13 at 2:40 p.m. to report he had been beaten again and gang raped by inmates and guards.
Oh.
And guards.
They just got this guy in there. They're just beating him and
fucking him. They're going to go to town on him. They're going to fuck away on him.
Everybody's just beating and fucking Exum.
Beating and fucking him good. This call was recorded from the Twin Towers medical unit phones. Other inmates shouted to Bree over the phone that the guards left him on the floor for hours after the beatings. Exum sat in jail with PTSD, being beaten, gang raped by cops and cop gangs, and head injuries from his boxing career and from watching 5 white men burn his father to death. Jesus Christ.
What the fuck?
How did that happen? From watching 5 white men burn his father to death in the family car when he was 7 years old? Did that happen?
Is that real?
Is that fucking real? How do you have 17 more?
Right.
He was 7.
How are there 17 siblings?
I don't know if that's real, but I feel like he'd have mentioned that shit in his interview.
Should have been.
I feel like that would have been a big thing, as like, that
would have fucked me up.
The turning point in my life was watching 5 horrible Klan members burn my father alive in a fucking car. I think that would be something you'd mention, right?
That would ruin you.
That would make you want to fight, probably. So... Wow, that's crazy. They left him alone, traumatized, scarred, injured, confused, and unable to speak clearly, with no form of medical attention or anyone to assist him in filing an abuse report, with no food or water, and nobody who would take Bree's statement at the Burbank Police Department or over the phone at the West LAPD station where she called. They told her to have Exum file a report at the Twin Towers jail, but he was too scared to. Oh, boy. Called a public defender back in Mr. Leonard. Oh, my God. So they said that Exum... was found fit to stand trial, and Bree Exum saw PD and Samuel Leonard at Twin Towers Jail sitting next to her and not in the attorney's private area. They both told Mr. Leonard that they wanted a trial. This was recorded on jail phones. He did not comply. Bree was instructed by her investigator not to visit the Twin Towers, that several innocent visitors had been beaten or held against their will at the jail. She spoke to Exum nearly every day to ensure that he was alive and was giving him unconditional love and healing energy to help him heal from the beatings and the rapes. Mr. Leonard never reported the felony crimes against Exum to anybody ever. This is a felony failure to report. Oh, boy. A felony reported crime and conspiracy to commit fraud upon the court and ultimately murder, even though no one's dead. He died after that.
Yeah.
We believe Mr. Leonard was brought to the LAX courthouse especially for this case and has exhibited malice. This is their attorney. Oppressive and prejudice and total reckless disregard for Exum's civil rights. He badgered Exum and prodded him to speak freely about sexual matters and past abuses against him that do not pertain to this case, using fear and manipulation against him and giving him incentives to lie or protect himself with fantasy. It's unconscionable, cruel, and unusual punishment to an already traumatized, severely beaten, gang raped, scarred, and disabled innocent black man.
Okay.
Wow. That's a lot. There's more.
This happened in 2013.
This is very recent.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the court. They sent Exum to Patton State Mental Hospital 3 months later on March 17, 2014 for evaluation. The team evaluated him, and Bree spoke to the clinic psychologist, and nothing was mentioned about Exum going back to court or Twin Towers on Monday. They sent Exum back to the Twin Towers for a Friday, and then he appeared at court, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Sharon, here's another shit here. Sharon, a.k.a. Shay or Sharon Choi Bozinski, had access to Exum's skin, nails, hair, blood, semen, and saliva. She told Bree, "The feds are on my side." When Bree asked her about some of her slanderous statements, she said Detective Rick Jackson showed up at her house wearing a $4,000 suit with a woman and didn't ask many questions about Exum, that he seemed more interested in her. She said that she told him that Exum was a sexual pervert and an abuser. She told them that he smoked crack and hit her once. Smoked crack once or just hit her once? Yeah. Bree knew she was lying, and she had a doctor do a full blood workup and drug screening on Exum in 2014 in the hospital. Bree and her investigator have a report with the results. All he had in his system was cannabis, as he smoked medical marijuana for pain. Bree asked Exum about this, and he said Sharon uses drugs and that she attacked him. That he simply defended himself from her. That's the 2005 domestic violence. He said that she was horrible to him, that Bree needed to be careful with her as she was a Jewish, Korean-speaking LAPD gangster. Be careful.
Yep.
She's Jewish, she speaks Korean, and she's an LAPD gangster.
It's a bad one.
That is quite the triad there. I don't know where those three things come together.
They usually don't merge.
Usually not, but
that Venn diagram is usually pretty separate.
There's a lot of stuff there. With friends like Sheriff Baca, who was the sheriff up until 2014 in LA County, who ended up being sentenced to 3 years in prison actually for some indiscrepancies there. Detective Rich. Okay, I have to start this sentence over because it gets really crazy after this, okay? He said she was horrible to him, that Bree needed to be careful with her as she was a Jewish, Korean-speaking LAPD gangster with friends like Sheriff Baca, Detective Rick Jackson, Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah, Adam Farrar, Leonardo's half-brother, and LAPD LASD officers. She said she knows where Bree lives and has one of her son's phone numbers. Bree was in fear for her safety as well. Exum also told Bree that his life had been threatened and he was cut by a knife at her home by Sharon Choi Bozinski and her son Thomas Bozinski, and that he was scared for his life. In July 2013, he left her, and that's when he met Bree at Venice Beach. So, Sharon Shea Choi Bozinski was in court on November 17, 2014, sitting with Alan Gelfand of the Socialist Party and LA Justice Department as friends and business associates. One of her alias blogs read "Black Jew Hate Crime Against Jew-Funded Exum Speight." I don't know what the fuck any of this means. She called Alan Gelfand to request one of his friends be Exum's public defender so they could fuck him over. Oh boy. One night in October 2013, Detective Rick Jackson rode up to Bree's car at 3 a.m. Bree was sending a text message for the next day. She rolled down her window and said hello. Detective Rick Jackson asked if Bree was okay. In a scary voice, she said, "Yes, I am," now that I sent that text, showing him her cell phone. He just rode away on a black and white police motorcycle. It's weird. Why would a cold case detective be riding a fucking motor pool motorcycle? I think she just doesn't know people, doesn't recognize them. That's when Bree changed her phone number, and reported everything to policeabuse.com and crimestoppers.org. Her true identity is being withheld as her family is also law enforcement, and she's had previous contact with the White House on confidential matters and has shared this information with them. at POTUS, at Real Donald Trump, at ACLJ. Okay. So Bree went viral on Twitter and contacted several people in Congress, the press, LAPD, LASD, FBI, Secret Service, Internal Affairs, the President of the United States, the First Lady, Zev Yarolovsky, Ridley Thomas, Loretta Lynch, okay, Mayor Garcetti, Kamala Harris, Senator Feinstein, the ACLU, the NAACP, the DOJ, and Sheriff-elect Bob Olmsted. And a partridge in a pear tree.
That she went viral?
That didn't go viral.
I'd like to know how many tweets that got. How many retweets and likes.
Oh, my God. So, okay, where is the part? I'm looking. Oh, my God. Ex-mayor. Holy shit, gang buddies. This is wild, man.
The accusations are just, they're unfounded. They make no sense.
Well, here's the part that you really want to hear about, okay? The entire prison had a riot that day, but it was not newsworthy. He was an innocent angel who gave his life to bring justice to 100 other plus innocent black men who have been set up by the same dirty white cops that did the same to Lonnie Franklin Jr., Samuel Little, a.k.a. Sam McDowell, Tupac Shakur, Biggie Smalls, O.J. Simpson, and Michael Jackson, Robert Black, and both of our investigators, one being a federal contractor. Detective Rick Jackson, ex-LAPD, FBI cold case unit with Tim Marsha, with blah, 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 blah. So, here it is. Okay. Mark Furman may also be the East Area rapist.
Oh, my God.
They have framed an ex-cop, Joseph D'Angelo, for these murders. We are requesting a form. They have framed.
This is post-arrest. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. They framed him because DNA doesn't exist in this person's world.
My God.
DNA means nothing because it's all set up.
Oh, my God.
If it's all set up, it can't be real. That's what I mean. When you have this thing of nothing's real, right, when DNA isn't real or votes aren't real or this isn't real, anything can be not real if you just say it's not real because it makes you feel good. That's
unbelievable.
It's crazy. That's what I mean. DNA evidence, what's that? Wow. You can't believe that because they're just doing this and that. So they believe nothing. The guy fucking did it.
All you have to do is be an 8-year-old and go, no, it's not.
Yeah. So all those women that went into court and looked him in the eye and said, this little dick motherfucker was they were all lying?
No, it's
to
not.
To cover up a thing because they want to protect Mark Furman? The fuck are we talking about here?
Nobody wants to protect Mark Furman.
No. They have framed an ex-cop, Joseph D'Angelo, for these murders. We are requesting a formal investigation and a grand jury hearing after we receive immunity for our testimony. Recent developments. The California fires in Paradise, California started after we made contact with Donald Newsom of BBS Radio, Paradise, California. We saw that Detective Rick Jackson's fiance/wife, PhD Debbie Holliday, connected with two of our followers on LinkedIn, one being Donald Newsom. His home and radio station were burned to the ground after he offered to look at our proposed radio show and broadcast. Thank you. We must stop these terrorists and send them all to jail and or mental hospitals.
Oh, boy. Who is that?
His team.
Oh, my God.
Can't get enough? Well, look that shit up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more. I left pages out. I had to go to the East Area rapist shit.
Oh, my God.
If you get on eBay, there's an Exum Speight autograph.
Really?
Actually, it's on an index card. 1995. Not bad. Free shipping.
For a murderer's
Pretty cool.
autograph.
Yeah, I don't know. And then just so you'll feel better, here's Douglas L. Stumler's gravestone.
There it is.
He's buried at grave. That's from his find a grave. Kraft Graceland Memorial Park in New Albany, Floyd County, Indiana. Memorial ID 155061333. You can look it up. Fucking there he is. There's his headstone.
It exists.
He doesn't know. He's alive still. He's walking around. He's really Bill Gates. That's Exum Speight, everybody. I mean,
what a story.
When we say something's going to be different, shit's going to be different. It was fucking different, boy. That is something.
I can't believe those people can't believe that shit.
Oh,
right?
They say they're making a documentary.
Oh, I can't wait to see that shit.
That was like 4 years ago, though. Then once he died, it all kind of, lost a little bit of steam. So I don't know.
Now with COVID, you can't get together to film it.
That's the thing. If you liked that show and you thought that was a crazy story, let us know about it. Let the world know about it. Get on Apple Podcasts. Give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. Say you're following instructions or directions or some shit. It doesn't matter. We don't care. No. Just do it because it does help a lot. You can also follow the show. You can do that easy. We're at Crime and Sports on Twitter and Facebook, at Small Town Murder on Instagram. Yep. The other thing you should do, go to shutupandgivememurder.com.
Right.
Get all your merchandise there, all your Small Town Murder stuff. Listen to Small Town Murder.
Yeah.
If you haven't tried it yet, God damn it, give it a shot because it's insane.
200th episode is this week.
This week, 200th episode. So start with 200 and work your way back. You can do that. Check it out right now, Small Town Murder. Do all of that. Also, listen to P.S. I Hate This Movie because I had to watch fucking Twilight.
Eesh.
We did Twilight, Jimmy. I lost my goddamn mind. Want to hear me explode about sparkly vampires and shit? It's on there.
I couldn't. What?
I had to watch the whole damn thing. It's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Why are they sending them to high school, Jimmy?
Don't they have several of them also?
Oh, there's a bunch. They send them to high school. They don't have to be in high school.
No.
They're graduated. They're homeschooled.
2,000 years old?
They're hundreds of years old.
They know all of it.
Just send them it all over and over again. I'm not going to get into it.
They know all of it.
It's all in the episode. Yeah. So check that out.
They were there.
Check everything out. Get bonus material more than anything, though. We have tons of stuff. Last week's Crime and Sports bonus that came out a few days ago was Mark Chimura.
Yeah.
That whole mess and trial and everything like that. And for Small Town Murder, which you'll also get access to with the one donation for $5 on Patreon, is the Thanksgiving Day murders throughout history. And there are some wild fucking murders in there that are just like, whoa.
It's a murder-heavy day.
It's a murder-heavy day.
Yeah.
So check all that out. You can get everything like that at patreon.com/crimeinsports. Anybody over the $5 level. And Jimmy will mispronounce your name. He'll try hard to say it right, but he won't.
You're welcome.
So he'll do that at the end of every show as well. You'll be a producer. And if you just want to be a producer and have good karma, you can do that as well by making a donation over at PayPal using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com. I think there's only one thing left to make me feel better. I need to hear the names of the people who would never write a crazy thing and accuse either of us of being the East Area rapists. Jimmy, let me have it.
This week's executive producers are Cameron Kushwara, Maria Kip Sousley, John Miller, and he donated twice.
Wow, thank you.
He also has had COVID twice.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable, this poor bastard.
Good Lord.
Hang in there, John.
Sorry about thank you.
Janine Durbeck and Talina Jensen, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Jake Nasso, Mark Wismer, Jordan Bennett, still, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan.
Nicholas
awesome.
Levitt, and they just bought a truck, by the way.
Hey,
Congratulations,
congrats.
Jordan and Simon.
Good for you guys.
Nicholas Levitt, I said that. Carol Braun sticking around. Thank you, Carol. Denise Anderson, RJ Harmon, Aaron Shiflett, Didi Ari, I think. A-R-E. It could be R or Ari. Or Air.
All right.
Thank you, Didi. Jolene Robinson, Donna Kat Sinculo, Jackie Marin, Kim Flederman, I think that's right. Deb... Oh, boy. It's already going downhill. Ramondos. Ramondos.
Hey.
That's not right either.
No, it's not.
Jules and John Harris, and I think they're in Pennsylvania. No, they're not. Austin Lomax and Sam Cranswick. Thank you guys so much. You guys are actual
Wow.
heroes. Thank
Really?
you. Other producers this week are Thomas Smith, Jennifer Baird, Teresa Ann Brown, Nicole Lopez, Andrew Sullivan, Robbie Barton, Tracy Renninger, Catherine Lano, Kyle O'Rourke. What is this? Afra Tulip? That's not right. I apologize. It might be. Probably not, though. Jennifer Visconti, Katerina Niedzolka, Alexis Amos, Christine Harrington, Jacqueline Hannaford, Peyton Meadows, Amanda Knight, Bradley Hinkle. What is this? And what did I do? Oh, that's on the next line. No, it's not. Dad Roy? Oh, and his dad, Roy.
Oh, and his dad, Roy.
I was going to ask you, and his dad, do you want to guess his name?
Roy.
Decca Castleberry, Samuel Hunt, Gabrielle Gray, Matthew Morris, Samantha Danielson, John Kimbrough, Daniel Barbier, Santiago Quinones, Stephen Elwell, Brian Crosby, Laura Teisner, James Martyr, Liz Vasquez, Ann Edwards, Travis Goodrich, Emily Henry Gillis. Baby Yoda, Janice Hill, Pink Zebra, Kristen would know last name, Reed Polk, David would know last name, Kim Taylor, Sam Shore, happy birthday, Austin Grover, Jessica would know last name, Madison McDonald, Evan Glidwell, Alan Caruso, Samantha Costin, I think that's right, Jessica Gore, Mary would know last name, Josh, oh boy, Widgedow.
Oh, that's a weird name.
That's
Josh, oh boy.
Terrible last name. Melissa Walker, Gino Marcello, he works over at Oakwood, and I believe, yes, it's true, he lost his mom or his dad.
Oh, no.
Lost a fucking family member.
I'm sorry about that.
I apologize, Gino. Hang in there, man. Phil McGroin. Yeah, gotcha. Taylor Walden, Ashley White, Leslie Hull, Anna L., Anita Martinez, in the memory of Matt Walker from Matt Villanueva. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Terribly sorry about your friend. Charles Butel, John Mole, Jen Pollock Bianco, Lou Weber, Ben Heather. Yes.
Butel, was that one name?
Or Butel, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's my friend. I don't know that guy.
Maybe you know him?
He's a good guy.
Butel?
So. Yeah,
it's possible.
Good dude.
Thanks, Butel.
Thank you.
Ben Heather and Hannah showed him the show through the Rulo episode. So
oh, boy.
Good
Wow,
good
got
work,
in on the dirty side.
Hell of a swing.
Yeah.
Brittany would know last name. Tom Olson, Gregory Swainston, John Clarkin, god damn it, Stina Oakes, Magnus Quancock, that can't be right, Kaylee Stillions,
so.
Rabbi Shmulalovich.
Every week.
I know.
I love them.
It's unbelievable. Kiert Neeram, Karen Shalene, Natalie Haynes, Glenda Winfield, Gregory Burr. Happy birthday to Athena Happias.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
Athena,
say her
yeah,
last
she's cool
name.
as hell.
She's wonderful, though.
I love her. She's awesome.
Robertson Simon. It might be Simon Robertson. I'm not sure. Morgan Schwartz, Michael Schmidt, Kristen. Nope, that's Crystal Ferguson. Joanne Ahern, Jude Kendall, Kyle Francis, Cassina Horton, Fat Fatacet.
Hey.
I don't know. Kristen Brennan, or is it Drennan? It's Brennan, I think. Carrie Wilson, Anthony Arzaga, Jessica Stewart, Sarah Seward, Don Griggs. Oh boy. Nope, that's a Z. Ziaxia. That's not right either.
Okay.
Zhaixxa.
Damn.
It's like a last
like
name
a
of
science
a porn
fiction
actor.
movie.
Or that.
Yeah.
Lisa Tucker. Anthony sent me money because he didn't like my bullshit Chipotle recipe, and he would like us to go get real Chipotle. Other producers are Karen Bruce, Joy Wagner, Jay Alder, Jay Bird Ford. Damn it. Brian Bryce, I think. Alex Manning. Jesus Christ. Era Abrahamian. No. Tara Jacobson. Shannon would know last name. John Deck. Alexa Tuwalt. Jennifer Klepacki. Zara. Nope, that's Sarah Zalewski. That's why, because there's a Z in her last name. Jake Cowley, I think. Spectre would know last name. Loretta Dillon. Chris would know last name. Aaliyah Maxey. Julia Ransom. Myra. Caitlin Cha. Nope. Alexia. Nope, that's Alicia Lowe. Dave Greer. David Allen's, yep.
Obviously.
Right.
Duh.
Kathleen Ferguson. Mallory Kennedy. Chris Ridding. God damn it. Patrick Allen. Patrick McHugh. Carissa Ryan, Ginny Evans, Connor, oh boy. Nugget, that's the last name.
That didn't seem that bad. It seems like you could have got that.
I'll make it difficult.
You got that.
Roger, Miss Spager, Sarah Rowe, Eric Hunt, Jeff Dacall, Dilk. No, Teresa Boat Gerlin shirt. What? Oh, girl in shirt. Got it? It's about the girl in the shirt. Katie Jesse, Dustin Manley, Jennifer Lance, Joshua Chandler, Alana Crenard, Hunter Blake, Mikey Fairley, Trey Litton. God damn it. Sarah would know last name. Christina Peters, Alyssa Camacho, Stephen Gibbs, Cassie Gilbert, Josh McGrew, John Haberland, Grace, goddamn it, Dyer, Davon Johnson.
Jesus.
Don Johnson.
Johnson's not a hard name.
The woman's spelling of Dawn.
Yes.
Yeah, got it. I wrote it terribly. Jessica Bennett, Michael Delancey, Peyton Brewer, Dirt Girl, Tamara Carpenter, Liz Line, Ryan Carter, Kate Peterson, Julie Ball, Janine Bonadell. It's Italian, that's why.
Hey, you're going to mess it up.
Alexis, nope, that's Alex Lopes. Kelly would know last name. Anthony and Kara Guglielmo. I got it.
Sorry, paisans.
Saska Shepherd.
Fuck them all up.
What the fuck? Alicia, nope, yes. Eliza. Alita Ubenius.
Collect yourself.
Unbelievable.
You
Kyle Burkhardt, Alexandra Pressler. Robert Wagner, probably not the one that killed that chick.
I assume it's
Daniel
number 2, yeah.
Daniel Arnold. Wolf would know last name. John Miller.
Blitzer. He doesn't want to call himself out.
Or the guy that cleans up murders. Mackenzie Sanders, Joseph Merkel, James Sheely, Kyla Baker, Alex Dew. Brennan would know last name. Shelby Hart, Brianna Engel, probably Kurt's daughter. Tyler Coppins, Christina Biasalo Izaquera. No.
Wow.
Robert Lerma, Ricky Shorts, Marin Ahern, Lauren A., Gianna.
Ricky Shorts and Richard Pants is his father.
Cousin Dickie Socks.
Yeah.
Marin Ahern, I said that. Gianna Young, what is this? Allison Johns, Deanna Roadcap, Kelly Tyler that's what it is. Kelly and Tyler Harrington and their son, Mark McNugget, or MacNugget. He spelled it MacNugget.
All right.
I'll bet it's McNugget, and he
take it.
fucked up. Natasha Zarnstrarf, Daniel Brown, Hannah Kern, Sivan, Tracy Williams, Ashley Bart, what is this? Bartges, Taylor Vasta, like pasta, Hunter Knight. We got a few more. Here we go. Megan and Jay Tuharski, Rihanna Klein, Robin Heyer, Jeff Barros, Molly Malay? I think it's Mala. Get it?
Yeah.
I think that's right. Allie Thornton, Barb Goza, Eric Berg, Allison with no last name, Robert Thompson, Jordan Collard, Christine Semple, Darren Levinsky, Cynthia Dean, Amber Hart, Emma with no last name, A. Brever, I think, Josh Palace. Nope, that's Place. Jared Pitts, Melanie McGinnis, Teresa Brower, Amanda Scott Torelli, Jorge Torres, Jonathan Geiger, Martine Linda Burkett. What? Linda Berger.
That broke you.
Nicole Blaker, Mark Tarzanelli. Fuck. Sarah Billinghurst, Clayton Foster, Francesca Corendi, Cheer Up with no bitch, Taylor Mays, Joan Hutchison, Kyle Walker, that's John Cornejo.
Hey, Cornejo.
It's possible. George Wright, Joe Cassidy, McKenna Misfeld, Crystal Parker, Ben with no last name, Sab C, Enda McCallan, Nadia Blumstrand, Mark Yoder, Jessica Cummins, Megan Yarb. Okay.
He said K. I got to collect myself.
Here's the thing. It's my penmanship. And people are like, print it out, bro. I can't do that because I can't do it in order.
Yeah. It becomes more difficult.
Alexis Presson, Linnell Ionton, David Malloy, Eric McDonald, Patrick Johnson, Trisha Zavala, Aaron Everett, Martin Lynch, Justin Michael Bard, Maria with no last name, Tiffany Queepert, Aaron with no last name, E.S., and that her name's Emily. I don't know what her last name is. Megan Locke, Mark Howard, Ellen Jones, J.D. Fogarty, April Rush, Jessica Finch, Diane Taylor, Joe Gallagher, Eliud Uribe, Brandon Calvin, Robin Owens, Logan Beck, Samantha Costin, Mackenzie Vaught, I think, Justina Pasavegis.
Wow, yeah, you sure about that?
I think so. Dixie Hupp, Michelle Madel, Zach Michael, Andrew Freeman, Christopher Santorani, Joe Fogarty, Paige Midgley, Drew Shockley, Tinell Bettenhouse, Alicia Cox, Nathan, nope, that's just Nate Huffnagel, Valerie Lynn Woods, Russell Long, I was super jacked, Elizabeth Airy Hood, Timothy Young, Dylan Wayne Stewart, Andrew Chapman, Stacy Cole, Terrence Caliquit, Sarah Falvo, James McMahon, Noah Delmfort, Katrina and Amanda, no last names, Jonathan Usery, Patrick Miller, James Dorsey, Trey Calhoun, Cassandra Schilling, William Gwild, Jennifer Brashears, Silas Ortegren. It's his birthday.
Happy birthday.
I'm not going to be good at this. Christian Clark, Hannah Corbett, James Curtis, Christina Johansson, Kate Hero, Kelly with no last name, Tristan Ward, Brad Kane, Patricia Vincent, Brittany Grimes, Lisa Klein, Robert Esparza, Rebecca Perote, E. Bryant, Marina Buell, I think, Charles Lewis, Caitlin Gordy, Nope, that's Cheryl. Laprade. Tracy, I got them both wrong. Tracy Stouffer, Tawny Lynn, Matthew Healy, Stephanie, oh boy, Akadieter, Nope.
You're almost there, Jimmie. Got hit with a curveball at the end.
Lisa Byard, Evan Jade, Timothy Hamill, Tasha with no last name, Madeline Walker, Joshua Stuff, Sherry Eckert, Hunter with no last name, J030113. Not a birth. I don't know.
Wow.
Might be a birth. I don't know. Probably.
Who the hell knows?
Beth
Half of Social
Carnes.
Security?
Yeah, it's a prison number. Stephanie Bogeman, and all of our patron sponsors. You guys are the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody, so much. Honestly, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Can't do this without you, and just thank you for all of your support. Thank you for everything you do, and we just hope to give it all back to you and more with the bonuses.
You truly saved my life.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
You got me out of a marriage I couldn't afford to leave.
There you go. So
thank you.
In terms of money or physical pain.
Yeah.
So there it is. Mental anguish.
Heroes.
So that is pretty amazing that you did that. What if they wanted to get a hold of you?
You can find me on social media. I'm there at Whisman Sucks. Where are you?
I'm at Jimmie P is funny. You'll know where to find. Just copy and paste names. You know how to find people.
Yeah.
That said, hope you enjoyed a real weird one this week, and we'll have more next week and next week up until December 22nd, where we're going to skip a week, and then we'll be back after that. Can't get rid of us.
Great.
That said, live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like Crime and Sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.